Joseph is getting his weapons ready. Yeah, he's getting. These are modern weapons. This is one of the. This weapon is more dangerous than.
I've got 3 of them pointed at me. I just got one.
There is no antagonism here. Three friendly cameras pointing at you. Now this one, we don't know if this one is. We don't know if this one is a friendly one.
I put the full debate up and I put the 1 minute debate up for the shorts. And
Okay.
I'm sure you understand what a short is.
Yeah. So the point I'm making is that Muslim people, generally speaking, when you go and live with them, spend time with them, you'll come to realize that these people are not what the Western media and Western politicians and Western prostitutes are telling them. Have you heard of the term prostitute? Prostitute is basically a oppressed person who is hired to spew hatred on Muslims. So we call them prostitutes. Okay, it rings a bell. It's very similar to another word.
What word is that?
Prostitutes.
What are they?
You don't know? Okay, let me teach you some English then. Let me teach you some English then. Today there will be a lesson on the English language.
He was calling it a weapon though, so maybe it was.
So Joseph, you're getting your camera ready. I'm getting nervous now, and facing directly at me, and I'm thinking what's going to come my way now.
No, you said about Israel. I thought we were talking about Israel.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, before you get into a big debate about that,
Yeah.
so you would say even if the foundations of Judaism were proven to be false, you would still be Jewish?
So
ethnically, yes.
No,
Well,
but
ethnically, obviously.
I'm saying I don't believe they would be proven, and I think Judaism has the flexibility to evolve with the time. So I gave the example of Maimonides.
I suggested on
Okay, Abu Israel.
he gives a lot of evidence that rabbis have conceded the Torah has been corrupted,
Yeah.
abrogated, hadith have been
This is
copied.
the opposite. Baltos, if you can't add to the Torah, you have to
Okay,
make it.
okay.
But there is
You're Muslim who's telling you this is misrepresenting.
no, there is
Judaism.
physical evidence.
He
It's a
cites
different
rabbis.
thing. He's saying that Jewish rabbis believe the Torah has been corrupted,
Yeah.
and that's wrong. And if you've got a Muslim account that's telling you this is what Judaism
No, but he
teaches,
cites rabbis.
He maybe I can misrepresent the Quran. I can say that Islam teaches Muslims to strike the neck of the
The
disbelievers.
Torah, the Jewish,
he's not like-
no, the Jewish scriptures themselves tell the Jewish people that the scriptures have been
I don't
corrupted.
know enough about that to comment.
No, there is a direct verse in Jeremiah, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 8, and Jeremiah in chapter 8, verse 8 is specifically talking about the scribes of the law. They have corrupted the book. I don't know what Joseph has to say on that. Okay, so the book itself is like the Quran. We believe in the Quran, and there would be a verse in the Quran saying Quran has been corrupted. Okay, this Quran you guys are reading is corrupted. To the contrary, the Quran tells us this book will never be corrupted. It will be protected. God will protect it himself, because it is meant to be for eternity. It will last until the day of judgment. And the Quran to this day stands the test of time. It hasn't been corrupted. On the other hand, we have plenty of evidence on the Torah and the rest of the books of the Jewish scripture. They have been corrupted. They've been changed beyond recognition. Right? I don't know what Joseph thinks of this. And
No, wait, could I finish? Because I need to go now.
and I wonder what Joseph thinks of those prophecies about an Arabian prophet. Okay, being a Jew, I believe Joseph obviously has read those passages. And if those passages...
And also, one interesting thing is the historian Bernard Lewis concedes that Jewish theology copies a lot from Islamic theology.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, it's a Zionist saying that.
No, the language. Hebrew language in its current form
it's very good.
uses the classical Arabic language to explain many things. Yes.
No, like what? I don't know this. I'm asking. Like what?
You don't know this?
Reread the Jews of Islam. It talks about this.
So you're talking modern Hebrew.
I'm talking medieval Hebrew.
So medieval Hebrew.
The Jewish rabbis in Spain used the Arabic language to decipher many terms they could not explain in the Hebrew language.
Rashid does the same, and he uses French because he was based in.
No problem. No problem. No problem. I have no problem with that. I'm saying.
I implore you to reread the Jews of Islam because it talks about this a lot. It actually has an entire page talking about how Arabic and Hebrew are so interlinked.
So
Arabic and Hebrew are interlinked.
So Joseph has become my fan officially because he is standing behind the camera and filming me repeatedly.
The audio.
Okay, so I wonder what you think. So I would like to discuss, Joseph. You need to have a cameraman.
I do know, but unfortunately, I don't get paid for any of this, and so if someone wants to volunteer,
I don't.
Like, it does. There's dozens of dollars.
I've never been paid for this.
No, but you come on.
I need to start asking these guys to share some of the blessings.
If any of the Dawah guys want to volunteer for the Zionists, we're more than happy to have you as our cameraman.
They won't do that. They won't do that. It's like asking them to volunteer for ISIS. No, they wouldn't do that.
I mean, some of them from the park did, but we won't go there.
From the park?
Yeah, there was one of your cameramen was arrested in jail for having an ISIS.
No, okay, yeah. Well, and what happened? What did we say about that?
Distance yourself.
What? No. If an ISIS guy walks through the park, is that our fault?
No, he's your cameraman.
If an ISIS guy is peeing there under a tree.
You're a cameraman, and yet you.
No.
I agree.
No, you're filming. Oh, wait. You're a Zionist.
Yeah.
Wait. You're a Zionist. To me, you're as good as ISIS. I mean, wait. Sorry. I'm being blunt. And you're filming me right now. Are you my cameraman now? Are you my cameraman? No. So before think before you talk. Think before you talk, Joseph. You
overwhelming
a Zionist.
I'm just going to have to do it with bad audio, but it's going to mic.
No, you have a.
I'm going to put these a bit lower down. It's just we're maxing out, unfortunately.
Okay, so you are as good as an ISIS fighter to me. You are a Zionist, self-confessed, open, public Zionist. You are, right? So to me, you are as good as ISIS. You're filming me right now. Are you my cameraman now? No. There are so many people here. I mean, I don't know. Hundreds of people have been filming us in the park. So this one guy turns out to be dodgy. They start making him our cameraman. This is what these people do. So Joseph, can you come back and respond to that?
Just trying to get my audio.
Leave it. We will give you a copy from this. Come. Leave it. So now, tell me, do you become my cameraman? Technically, he's my cameraman at the moment. He's filming me right now. He's working so hard. He obviously loves me so much that he really wants to fix this. You know, it's catching my voice. I can see it there. It's catching my voice. Leave it, man. So if any extremist sneezes anywhere in the world, it's not my problem, right? But you are a Zionist. Anything the Zionist state does, you can argue for it, right? Joseph, you can talk from there.
I'm going to talk once I said about that.
Okay. So it's very easy to throw stones at people when you live in glass houses. Don't do that. Yeah? While Joseph is busy doing that, we've had many conversations in the past, myself and Joseph. We have a very cordial kind of relationship, even though we are far apart ideologically from each other. We are two different, I would say, on the side of, two different sides of the fence. Okay, I'm on the side of Islam, the Muslim civilization, the greater Muslim civilization, and I talk about the Muslim civilization and its impact on the world. Muslims, when they came to power in the 7th century, when they brought Islam as a political force into the world, they brought with them a civilization called the Muslim civilization, and people flourished under Islam. Most importantly, the Jewish people, right? And Zionist propagandists like Joseph, they argue that the Zionist state of Israel is a good thing. Okay? And when we challenge him on the atrocities they are committing for the last 70 years, they have been committing a lot of atrocities. He somehow attempts to defend those atrocities. Firstly, the theft of the land. Okay? Then forced migration or forced exile of the Palestinians. then the brutality that still continues. Last week, how many people were killed? Last week, innocent people. And if a Muslim terrorist did that, the same media around the world would be going crazy. You know, they would be going crazy. And what does Israel say? Collateral damage. These innocent people who died, women and children, in a bombing raid, collateral damage. Collateral damage. Okay? So, if the Muslims were doing this, then people like Joseph, they would be running a marathon up and down the park. He would go there, he would come back, and then he'd go back. Now he's fixed it. Oh, good. Now we got it. Okay. So now, yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, we can see it.
That's whether it's coming into the camera. Yes.
Okay, off we go.
Okay.
Off we go. Being filmed by a Zionist cameraman.
Okay, and several. So, let's bring it back to principles. We both know what a Zionist is, but for the audience that don't know, a Zionist is simply anybody that supports the existence of the state of Israel as a Jewish state. So you have Muslim states around the world, you have Christian states around the world. Israel's a Jewish one. If you support the Palestinians and you support an Israeli state and you support a two-state solution, so Palestine and Israel, then you're a Zionist. The overwhelming majority of British Jews, 82% of them, and the overwhelming majority of Jews in the world are by definition a Zionist. 82% of British Jews see Israel is central to their identity. So when Adnan compares Zionists to ISIS, he's saying anybody that supports that Jewish state is the equivalent to a barbarian that beheads people of a different faith, who enslaves Yazidi girls, who murders and rampages and causes hell on earth.
Absolutely.
He's comparing all of this.
I'm standing by what I said.
In Israel as well.
And this is...
You know, Baha'is are in there and they live fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Arabs, they're literally Muslim party in the Israeli government. There are Arabs that have sent Jewish prime ministers and Jewish presidents to jail. And this clown
Hitler had
to ISIS?
Hitler had Jewish collaborators. Hitler had Jewish collaborators. No, just because
now
Hitler...
he's calling his fellow Muslims collaborators.
Yes. Yeah, anyone working with the state of Israel to suppress, oppress and abuse Palestinians is a collaborator. Can I put it in any simpler words? Can I? This is the simplest language I can use, right? So, coming back to the issue of Zionism, okay? It doesn't matter how many people agree with it. It makes no difference. Germany under Hitler was a Nazi Germany. The majority of Germans were with Hitler. Hitler was the most popular leader. How did he become the most popular leader? Through propaganda, through his charisma, through his practice of speeches. You know, Hitler actually would go and practice speeches. He would practice oratory. I believe Hitler, as evil, as barbaric, as whatever as he was one of the best orators of the 20th century. Okay, his oratory was very powerful. His public speaking skills were very powerful. He used them for evil ends. He used them to massacre innocent Jewish people. Okay, now just because Germans had become Nazis predominantly, do we now say all the Germans are following Hitler, so therefore to accept there is Nazism becomes acceptable just because 80-90% of the Germans are behind Hitler? Firstly, I don't accept what Joseph says that most British Jews are Zionists. I don't accept that. I don't accept that, right? But even if that was the case, let's say 80% of the Jewish people living in Britain were Zionists. Does that render Zionism valid? Does that make Zionism a good force in the world? Does that make Zionism an acceptable ideology? Absolutely not. So don't play this numbers game with us. Let's get to the crux of it. What is Zionism? It came about in the late 19th century. A bunch of secular Jewish journalists and intellectuals and tycoons and bankers, they came together and they came up with this ideology. The Jewish rabbis had nothing to do with it, to my knowledge. They had nothing to do with it. Okay, to this day, many Jewish Orthodox groups are against Zionism, openly, publicly, right? So when you try to play this game, equate Zionism with anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, if that's the game you're trying to play, don't try.
Adnan,
it's not going to work.
Stop putting words in my mouth.
Just like we can't.
Did I ever once, in anything I just say, talk about anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism?
You have accused me of anti-Semitism.
For when you were anti-Semitic?
Yeah. No, when?
Okay, let's just deal, Adnan.
Let's go back to that question if you want.
Adnan, let's stick on topic instead of what always happens. You leapfrog all over the place like Skippy the kangaroo. Let's stay on subject. The subject at the moment is ISIS and Zionism.
Yeah.
So let's list the atrocities. And
Good.
interestingly,
let's do it.
As an example of one of the most barbaric examples of an ideology, he goes to an Islamic ideology. That's interesting that you chose.
It's not an Islamic ideology.
They literally based their. You may be through false interpretation.
So do the Zionists.
But it's on.
So do the Zionists.
You literally said the Zionists were secular.
They call it a Jewish state.
Okay, Adnan, I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah.
And you spoke for about 5 to 10 minutes.
We're going to
keep it civil.
Yes, good. We're going to have a conversation.
Anybody who's ever met a Jew outside of Speaker's Corner will understand that the likelihood is that they have some form of connection to Israel. Whether they have family there, whether it's a religious reason.
Like many Muslims have connection with Iraq and Syria.
Adnan, can you keep quiet for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
I stood politely and listened to you insult me throughout your diatribe.
I apologize.
Please, extend.
Let's keep it short. Both sides.
Keep it short. You just spoke for 15 minutes, mate.
No, I didn't speak for 15 minutes.
I mean,
people will time it, and then they'll come back to you. I didn't speak for 15 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. But continue. You finish your point, and I'm going to come back and we'll go like that.
We're going to go through a few examples of why Jews are Zionists. The overwhelming majority of religious Jews support the existence of Israel today. In the UK, you have small groups like Neturei Karta. There's like 8 families in the UK. Satmar in America, slightly larger Hasidic sect, but most Orthodox Jews support Israel. Most religious Jews support Israel. And the reason they do that, many support Israel, many support two-state solution of areas. But let me
continue. Joseph will expose his own inconsistencies.
When the Jew talks, they try to silence them. When the Muslim brother speaks, no one interrupts. Did anyone interrupt you from the audience? No. Did people interrupt me? Did people interrupt me? Yes. So, audience, I don't interrupt him, you don't interrupt him. Give me the same courtesy. So Jews pray 3 times a day to return and rebuild Jerusalem. The end of Jewish festivals, we'll say next year in Jerusalem. When we eat bread, we pray about Israel. Like literally, the entire Jewish religion revolves around Jews being in Israel. So,
can you put it up there?
The main reason that Jews support the existence of Israel today will either be religious or secular. As Adnan mentioned, many of the founding Zionists... gosh, this is impossible.
Continue, Joseph, continue. Ignore. No, please don't interrupt him. Don't interrupt. Listen, we don't want Joseph to stop. I want him to speak, I can respond to him. Wait, I have plenty of arguments to respond. No problem. Continue, Joseph. Joseph, talking to me. Please, ignore him.
Okay, so... Jews suffered in almost every nation we lived in.
Okay. You're opening a new topic now. Let's stick to Zionism.
I'm literally giving the reason why Jews around the world support Israel.
Okay, can I respond to what you said already? Very quickly.
What are you doing? I don't think a minute.
Just finish his point.
I'm going to give up in a minute. It's very, very
Go ahead. Please go ahead.
Your co-religionist heckling.
Yeah, no problem. Don't heckle him, please. Don't let Joseph say that we're not going to let him speak. We will let him speak.
Thank you.
Inshallah.
By the way, he's not Jewish. He's a Zionist.
Continue, Joseph. Why? This is the part.
Why are you finding him like excuse? Continue, man.
The only place that Jews have any claim to on this earth is Israel. We have no claim to Uganda. We have no claim to New York. We have no claim to London. We became a nation in Israel. We existed as a state for almost 1,500 years. We are indigenous to that land. Now, most Jews believe because of the persecution that we face, we can no longer live outside of Israel. We need a place of refuge.
Okay.
There were many Muslims who saved us, there were many Christians who saved us throughout history, but we cannot depend on others to come to our rescue. We need to be able to defend ourselves.
Okay.
And for that reason, Jews need a state, and the only place on this earth we have a claim to a state is Israel. Now that should not come at the expense of any other people.
Okay. Can I respond?
Please.
We have no problem with the Jewish people living in security. Under security. I mean, when I say insecurity, it sounds like insecurity, right? So under security. We want the Jewish people to be secure. We, when I say we, I talk for the Muslim civilization. Okay? You can call me a self-appointed spokesperson, no problem. I have no problem with that. But I will try to give you the evidence why I believe so. The Muslim civilization protected the Jewish people for over 1,000 years. This is why Zionists cannot make stories up and start claiming that the Jewish people were in danger. They were being brutalized around the world. Therefore, we came and we drove out the Palestinians from their homes. We occupied the land forcefully and started killing their women and children and men and elderly. And because we were being oppressed, we were being driven out from everywhere, we're going to do the same to another people. We're going to go and take all that land. Okay, this logic is the Zionist logic. That's why it's evil. That's why it cannot be supported and celebrated. This is why I equate this ideology with ISIS. They are very similar. Zionists and ISIS are very similar. The only difference is the Zionists are very organized. They have a state, they have Western backing, they have very powerful weapons. ISIS doesn't have that. ISIS doesn't have that, right? ISIS doesn't have the channels. ISIS doesn't have the, wait. No, you're doing the same thing the guy was doing, yeah? Okay. So, let me clarify. We, as Muslims, or the Muslim civilization, never had a problem with the Jewish people. As a whole, as a community, as an entity. For over 1,000 years, the Jewish people lived in Muslim lands. In fact, some Jewish scholars, like Jacob Lesner, they believe and claim that the majority of the Jewish people were living within the domain of Islam for over 1,000 years. Why? Why is the question? Because they were protected. They were celebrated. They became very prosperous. They worked on their religion. They were conducting business. They were physicians, scientists, philosophers, poets. And they were the top brass of the Muslim community. In fact, some of them were prime ministers to Muslim sultans. One of them was in Spain, Hazda ibn Shaprut, albeit an exception, no doubt. An exception. But we had examples like that. So when we had Jewish people living with us, what changed in the 1940s all of a sudden? What changed? Why did all the Jewish people started to leave from Morocco to Yemen and they started to quickly rush to Israel? Why? Because of what the Zionist movement was doing in the land of Palestine. You see, ISIS, when they started to do atrocities around the world, what happened to the Muslim community around the world? Muslim community became very agitated. We had to come out and explain that these guys, they have nothing to do with us. They don't represent us. We have a civilization to talk about. We have scientists, philosophers, poets, scholars. People have forgotten them, right? So we had to come out and clarify our position because this ideology called ISIS was committing atrocities. Just like that, the Jewish people became very agitated. They had a very peaceful situation in the Muslim lands. Suddenly an extremist group, an atheistic, secular extremist group called the Zionists come to power in Palestine, and they start committing atrocities. They start killing Palestinians. And then the Muslim masses become very agitated too. So the Jewish people, fearing for their lives, for the first time in the last 1,300 years, for the first time, mass migration of the Jewish people to the land of Palestine. Now show me an example of, how do I prove my case? I will ask Joseph, show me an example of Jewish mass migration. Listen to my question carefully. Is everyone listening to me? Is everyone listening to me? My question is very specific. Show me an example of a mass migration of the Jewish people from one land to another land due to Muslim persecution. One example in the last 1,300 years. It only happened in the 1940s. And who did it? The Zionists, not the Muslims. Over to you.
Okay, so that was a long time. Nobody interrupted him. Nobody heckled him. Hopefully the crowd will give me the same courtesy. I want one person heckled him. So you went through a few points. I captured them just because my memory isn't what it used to be. So the first thing I'm going to address is the very first thing he brought up, which is that Adnan wants Jews to live under Islam and be protected by Islam. You, literally on camera, this is what you said. You want Jews to live under us in security, were the words you used.
You want me to respond?
No, you can respond when it's your turn.
But that's not true. I didn't say that.
Okay.
But you're making... Did I say that?
Say under security.
Everyone's saying I didn't say that.
Okay. You said explicitly on camera, and we can go back,
Yeah.
that Islam protected Jews and offered the Jews.
That doesn't mean that I
Islam.
want the Jewish people to live under Islam and protected by Islam.
Okay, again, I didn't interrupt you. So, and you said a lot of things. You said almost everything that left your mouth I disagreed with, and I bit my tongue.
But don't misquote me in front of me. Have some courtesy.
We can go back and people can watch what was said at the beginning. Maybe I'm slightly mixing up the words he said, but the basic essence was Islam. While the Jews were under Islam, were protected, and he wants Jews to go on being protected by Islam, was the basic essence. And from a Jewish perspective, we're like, no thanks, mate. We've had your protection before. Sometimes it was good, other times you put us to the sword. Other times you ethnically cleansed us. And I'll give some examples of mass migration, or what we would call ethnic cleansing. So either where we were forced out or we fled. I'll give examples of both.
Okay.
So my turn.
Mass migration, you said you're going to give me examples.
Adnan.
Mass migration, yes.
Adnan, hold your tongue. You'll get a turn to speak. You spoke for a long time. I know you like the sound of your voice, but please let me speak. So, Islamic and Jewish history is one of good caliph protected the Jews, bad caliph persecuted the Jews. The first people to make Jews wear yellow clothing, to single them out, to persecute them, was actually the Abbasids. The Abbasids persecuted Jews.
Continue, I'm not going to...
The Almohad persecuted Jews. Hundreds of thousands of Jews fled Al-Andalus when the Almohad, and North Africa, when the Almohad seized power. And the Jews fled. In Yemen you had examples, in Iraq you had examples. Umar himself ethnically cleansed the Jews of the Hijaz. So Islamic history is one of both good and bad relations with the Jews. Now for the Jewish people, we appreciated when there was a Christian king like Kashmir's in Poland, or a Muslim ruler like where the numerous Islamic rulers that protected the Jews. We are grateful for that. But what we don't want is to be dependent on the whims of whichever caliph is ruling over the caliphate at that time, because some of them persecuted us excessively. And so, for the first time in history, Jews have a safe haven. Not first time in history, for the first time in 2,000 years, we had the opportunity to protect ourselves. So historically, if we were persecuted by Muslims, we'd have to either flee to Muslim or Christian countries. Today, we can flee to the Jewish country. And I have complete faith that my brothers in Israel are more likely to protect me than Adnan's brothers in whichever Muslim state we're talking about. Okay. And so, you donkey, you hammer.
I'm about to speak. I'm about to speak.
Why you asking?
Yeah.
You stop it.
Okay, I'm about to speak.
This liar.
Okay, it's finished now. Can I speak?
Only la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
Okay, thank you. So now my response.
And you
Joseph.
Go to hell. If I go there,
Please.
I'll see your dentist.
Ignore. Okay. So Joseph, he made many points. What Joseph does in almost every single discussion, We call it, in debating terms, we call it machine gun tactics. Okay, what happens is you basically empty a magazine. You empty a magazine on your opponent and expect him to respond to you in 3 minutes, right, with all those bullets he has fired. That's why I'm very meticulous in debates. I like to address topics one by one, systematically. Each and every single point he raised can be shredded, dismantled, conclusively. For example, I'll give you a few examples he mentioned. Al-Mohads. Why do I believe people like Joseph are spin doctors and they are not sincere? He's disingenuous. I'm saying that to his face. I'm saying that to your face. He's because he knows the response. What is the response? Al-Mohads, I will tell you, definitely persecuted Muslims, Christians and Jews. They did not single out the Jewish people. Al-Mohads, when they came to power in Spain in the 12th century CE, they persecuted all people in Spain. They went for everyone, right? So what happens? Jewish people, some of them, they start to leave. Now, Joseph tells you half the story, and even that half, partially, not the complete half. Partially, even that half is partial. He focuses on the Jewish people, right? Now, this is why it's so important to know your history, my brothers and sisters, right? So Almohads, they persecute almost everyone. They are an extremist group. They have been called so in our history. The Muslim historians are writing, these people had lost the plot. They had lost the plot. Just like Muslim scholars today in the world are saying ISIS have lost the plot. They don't represent us. They are your product. They are a product of your war you waged on Iraq, and they are a reaction to your. They have more in common with you, those who are fighting ISIS, than us, the Muslim community around the world, from Morocco to Bangladesh. So what happened with Almohads? They come in, they persecute some Jewish people. The Jewish people they are persecuting, they leave. He's right, they leave. Now when they leave, where do they go? Where do they go? Guess where do they go? No. Where do they go? Who knows? Morocco was...
It's a good example.
Morocco was under Almohads.
Algeria.
They went to Egypt. Now, who was ruling Egypt? Salahuddin. Thank you. Joseph, amazing.
Wait.
He knows the truth.
Now, amazingly, he knows, but doesn't mention it. This is what I call CNN, Fox News, NBC put together in one man. Okay, right? So they deliberately hide this information because it's going to. So, what happens to these Jewish people? One of them is their famous rabbi, Musa bin Maimonides. He's one of those Spanish Jews who found refuge in Egypt. Why didn't these Jews go to the north, to the Christian states?
Many of them did.
No, they did not. They did not. You don't know. They got banished. They got banished from the English king, Edward I, banished the entire Jewish community. So did the French king, Philip. Later on, they drove all the Jewish people. Where did they go? They went to the Muslim lands, right? Now. So what people like Joseph do, okay? And then what happens to Maimonides and people like him in Egypt? Are they given the brooms and the brushes to go and clean the streets? You bunch of barbarians, you've come from Spain. Actually, because they were so civilized and educated, and the elite of the Spanish Muslim society, the Jewish people, who were walking around in Islamic dress code, with turbans, speaking eloquent Arabic, uttering Arabic poetry, the Jewish rabbis of Spain. What happens to them in Egypt? They are given high posts. In fact, Maimonides himself, who later on lied to the Yemeni Jews about his situation, okay, who himself was a liar, outright liar. Maimonides, Musa bin Maimun, was a liar. And I will show you why he was a liar, okay? There are many, that's another topic in itself.
Adnan, they can all watch the debate where I absolutely humiliated you on that part.
Like you are today, no problem. Okay, so Maimonides, he went to Egypt and he becomes what? The physician of the Sultan, the brother of Salahuddin. He becomes his private personal physician. What kind of persecution is this? It's like some Muslims leave Iraq, okay, as refugees. They come to Britain and then Boris Johnson takes one of them as his private physician. We haven't seen that happen to date. That hasn't happened to date. All of these Iraqis and Syrian refugees are being basically, how they're being treated in all these countries at the borders, what's happening to them in Italy, in Greece, and Poland, and Hungary. Go and see these refugees, see what's happening to them, okay? Muslims didn't do that to the Jewish people, okay, wherever they went, right? These Zionists, they have to make up stories for a reason, to substantiate the evil ideology, to argue that the Jewish people as a whole, their lives are in danger. Therefore, we need the state of Israel.
Okay.
We need to occupy this land and drive out the Palestinians, brutally kill them off, okay, kill the children and women, so that we can be protected. This is a lie. The Jewish people, and then what? Last point. So I want to be fair. Last point, because I can go on and on and on. Joseph, he's threw so many bullets at me that I'm trying to now, deal with the fatal ones. The ones that are close to my heart. Okay, the arms, the legs, no problem. Let them go. Okay, so he jumped from the Abbasids to what? What? He jumped from Abbasids to what? Do you remember? Are you all listening? To Almohads. Remember that? Do you remember that? He mentioned the Abbasids and he hopped few centuries forward to Almohads. My question is, why do Zionists have to do that? Why do they jump from centuries to another century, from a dynasty to another dynasty, and what do they point to? Exceptions where some Jewish people did receive maltreatment. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you where there are cases of Jewish people being maltreated due to political and other circumstances, right? Something happened. But the general pattern of the Muslim civilization towards the Jewish people, he talked about Umar, then he went to the Abbasids, and then he went to Almohads. This is what they do. If I start doing that about Israel for the last 70 years, Joseph, your hair will become white. You'll become an old man.
I think because by the time you finish talking, my hair will become white.
Yeah, they're already white. Okay. The list of Israel's atrocities against Palestinians are so long that if I start naming every single person who was killed, okay, we won't finish today, right? Okay, how many people have Israel killed in the last 70 years? Do you know?
Can you finish today, please?
Baha'is have been killed for 200 years, slaughtered by the Muslims, slaughtered by the fanatical Shias. Let me ask you a question.
Are you going to argue for him?
I would like to ask you one question.
If you want to open another debate on the Baha'is, come forward.
Okay.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
We'll do Baha'i in a minute.
We'll come to Baha'is. We'll come to Baha'is and anyone else in the list. Anyone else in the list? We'll come to them. No problem. You see, all of these things, this propaganda. When I challenge you, when you come and stand next to me, you will see you have no legs to stand on.
So are you finished? Okay. So what's really, really rich is Adnan accused me of machine gun tactics. I literally responded to points he'd made. So he said Muslims had protected Jews. So I gave examples of how they hadn't. He said, like, literally everything you accused me of, you're guilty of. You went all over the
I'm going to have to get to my phone
ISIS,
now.
Maimonides, Igeret Tayman, Almohads, literally we went all over the shop, all over the houses.
Now you're in for it, Joseph.
And so what I want to do...
Now you've done it.
So just for people's reference, he raised Maimonides. And we've had... The reason I laughed at when he raised Maimonides, the reason I laughed at when he mentioned Maimonides, he gave Maimonides as an example of somebody who experienced the benevolence of the Ummah, of the Muslims, who experienced the kindness and the protection of the Muslims. When Maimonides is speaking to his own people in the Igeret Teman, in a letter to the Yemenite Jews, the Jews of Yemen, he explicitly states that no people have persecuted us as much as this nation. No people. He also said that I misrepresented history, and that when Jews fled Muslims in Spain, that they fled to other Muslims. I explicitly stated when Jews had no state of their own, when they were persecuted, they had to flee to Christian or Muslim states. It's all on camera. Now, when they... No, you can't. You can wait your turn, sir, and then I can talk to you. But I'm talking to Mr. Rashid at the moment.
That's the point you're talking about.
I know, but no one interrupted here, except my brother here. Now I've lost my chain of thought. Thank you. And that's why we don't interrupt. I've completely lost my chain of thought. So I'll bring it back. The reason why it's important to focus on today and the history is that historically, when Jews were persecuted, we would flee to a land, and for a few decades, a few centuries, it might be okay. But then the persecution would increase, and the Jews were slaughtered. Another anti-Semite behind me. Are you finished?
No, continue. Sorry, continue. I apologize. That's very impolite of me. Sorry.
And so, historically, Jews had nowhere to flee. We had no state. So when the Almohad slaughtered us, some of them fled to Northern Europe, some of them fled into Fustat, Egypt, into North Africa, the parts that weren't occupied by the Almohad, to Iraq. So the Jews fled all over, but there was no Jewish state. So they couldn't flee to other Jews. They either fled to Christians or the Muslims, who had laws which discriminated them. What Adnan does not talk about is the condition of those Jews that lived in there. He focuses on the Jews that achieved positions of power, the court Jews, who were very well documented. And the ulema were outraged that these Jews held positions of influence, and they regularly went up against the different caliphs and rebuked them and scolded them for having Jews in positions of authority. But the reason the Jews were in those authorities is exactly for the reason Adnan said. They were skilled in medicine, they were skilled in collecting taxes, because they'd done it for the Christians, they'd done it for the Muslims, and they had built up over many years a skill set which benefited these caliphs. It wasn't benevolent for these Jews. Meanwhile, the majority of Jews who lived under these people were persecuted. Do you know that if your synagogue fell into disrepair, you weren't allowed to rebuild it? The Jew was not allowed to rebuild the synagogue if it fell into disrepair in almost every caliphate that stood. Adnan is giving you the absolute perfect example of existence of Jews and Muslims. The reality is the opposite. If you want to know how Jews lived under Islam, you don't listen to Adnan, you listen to the Jews who lived in those times. So if you go to the Cairo Geniza is the most perfect record of what it was like to live as a Jew in these times. Okay. Effectively, every letter, every book, anything that was written was preserved and put in this archive, and it was found in the 19th century, opened up, and we can read from Jews what it was like to live under Islam, and they don't paint the same picture as Adnan. They talk about the persecution, the tax has been so high.
Too many topics, Joseph, too many topics.
Okay, let's go back to Israel and ISIS.
No.
And you also, you notice, the minute I start talking, the minute I start defending my case, he tries to shut it down. I'm saying that Jews were persecuted under Islam. He's saying they're not. When I give evidence of this, he says too many topics.
Okay, to be fair, because Joseph is by... Oh, sorry, ma'am, you were not speaking when he was talking. Ma'am, you were not speaking when he was talking. I know you are upset.
There's a Jewish lady from a Muslim country who's upset, and he's shutting her down.
Okay, wait.
We can speak to each other.
Can I speak? Yes, thank you.
Talking about occupation.
Can I speak?
We didn't occupy anything.
Can I respond to his point?
Anything we didn't occupy.
Okay.
We just returned home. Since when Jerusalem was a capital to any Muslim state except the Jewish.
Can I respond to his point?
What you can't say.
I'm telling Hector to go quiet.
Okay.
So you be fair and tell the lady to be quiet so that I can respond to
She will be quiet. 2 minutes, then we'll bring you on camera because you're much better than I am.
Okay.
Just for the record, for everyone who's watching who doesn't know this lady is, this lady was born in a Muslim country.
Which country?
I don't know if she'd like me to say. She speaks perfect Arabic.
Why not? She's in the UK.
Okay, yeah, she fled persecution in Islam. From Islam.
When? I want to know. If you want to discuss this lady specifically, we can bring her over, start discussing her.
Okay.
And then we will see why her family had to flee a Muslim country and when. What happened? What happened? Okay. Can I respond? Can you tell the lady to be silent so that I can respond to your point? Do you want me to respond?
Yes, I do.
Yes, so can you ask her to be silent? Like I was telling the Muslims to be quiet.
Okay, I'll just finish my point. And then we get on to yours.
So no, you're not going to make any more points because I need to respond to everything you said. Okay, Maimonides. He mentioned Maimonides. Firstly, a lot of the Jewish migrants to Israel, for the last 70 years, they have been brainwashed systematically by the state into hating Islam, Muslims, and the Muslim civilization. You know, if you go to the just like the Shia people, from a very young age, they are conditioned to hate the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, there are many examples I can give. Okay, when you condition children from a very young age, it's very difficult to get them to realize otherwise. Okay, my job here is, as hard as it is to clarify what the reality is. Joseph, people like him, I have no respect for him, even though I treat him respectfully, but I'm making it very
that's
clear.
not very respectful.
No, because I believe he's actually... Wait, brother, I'm not attacking him, am I?
I know,
I'm not
but you're talking about respect and love.
I don't respect propagandists and liars and disingenuous people. I don't like disingenuous people. I don't like disingenuous people. So let me clarify. Now you're attacking me from the sides, don't do that. So Maimonides, Joseph, are you worried about what I'm going to say? Then be silent, please. Respectfully, please be silent. Okay. Maimonides. Joseph started with Maimonides. He wrote a letter to the Yemeni Jews.
Not me. You mentioned it. You mentioned Maimonides, not me. You brought him up. I responded.
And then you responded with more. Then you responded with more partial history. And that's why I have to expose you that when you tell history, you and your Zionist brothers, when they tell history partially. Okay. Some have now realized that the world is not sleeping anymore. There are scholars who will expose us, and now they are coming out slowly. They are Zionist scholars, and they are speaking the truth. Bernard Lewis, for example, Zionist, died over 90 years old. Considered to be, please.
Primary sources.
Okay, so why is this happening, Joseph, when I'm speaking? When I'm speaking, why is this happening? You were very upset. When Muslims are heckling, you were very upset. So now, just as you expect me to speak to the Muslims, speak to the lady. Okay, so Maimonides was a Jewish rabbi of the topmost status in the Jewish people, among the Jewish people in Spain. And then he migrated to Egypt. He grew up in Egypt. He grew older in Egypt, right? He became the private physician, the Sultan. So what happens when, now this is the full story. What happens? The Jewish people of Yemen write a letter to him. About what? That we are about to become Muslims. Are you listening, everyone? Is everyone listening? This is the context with which my friend probably doesn't know, and if he knows, then he didn't tell you, and ask him why he didn't tell you this. Just like the Almohads. He told you the Jewish people were driven out, didn't tell you where they went. And when I told you where they went and gave you an example, he attacked that example, and he said, I mentioned it. And then when he attacked the example, even then, he gave you partial history. He said, Maimonides in a letter painted a very grim picture of his experience under Islam. And he's right. Guess what? He's right. This is why I said earlier, I said Maimonides was a liar of top class. For example, let me give an example. Maimonides, who is he? He is, no, Musa bin Maimun, but who is he serving? Who is he serving? Who is he serving? Wait. Who is he serving in Egypt? Sorry? He is the private physician of the Sultan. Wait. He was the private physician of the Sultan. His private doctor. Now, a private doctor for the Sultan, do you think is that a low position or it's a high position in the state? High or low? High or low? Private physician to the Sultan. You have the ear of the Sultan. You can tell him what you want. You can get him to do what you want, right? Now, Maimonides, when he receives a letter from Yemeni Jews, what are they asking him? Because he's an authority among the Jewish people. They ask him, we are considering converting to Islam. The Jewish community of Yemen. Why? Because these prophecies in the Old Testament, they list them down. Deuteronomy 18:18. Deuteronomy 18. Deuteronomy 33:2. Okay? Then other prophecies in the Old Testament, a list. They present this list to Maimonides and they ask him, oh Rabbi, what is our response to the Muslims on these prophecies? Because they are claiming that Muhammad, their prophet, the Arabian prophet, is foretold in these passages. And we are on the verge of converting to Islam. And some of them are learned Jews in Yemen. So they write to the most learned man in the Jewish world, Maimonides. So what does Maimonides do? In response, now he's a Jewish rabbi, he's the shepherd of the flock. What do you think he's going to do in the letter? Is he going to tell them, go ahead, very well done, go and convert to Islam? Or is he going to dissuade them? Which one is it? Which one is it? If some Muslims come to me, I'm my example, person. I'm no Maimonides, no Imam, no scholar. If they come to me, 10 Muslims here, and they say, you know what, we're having doubts. We want to convert to Christianity. They have shown us how true Christianity is, for example. What am I going to do? As a Muslim da'i, as a Muslim propagandist, let's say, if he wants to call me that, okay? I'll do it for him, right? What do you expect me to do? Tell them, well done, go ahead, baptize yourselves and become Christians. Or I'm going to dissuade them. I'm going to dissuade them. Maimonides, to dissuade this Jewish community of Yemen, he tells them all lies. We suffered under these people. They are the worst people in the world. And when is he writing this? While he is the private physician to the Sultan. He's a private doctor to the Sultan, he's writing this. And then he responds to these passages. All complete spins. Just a quick question, and you don't need to go further. Have you read the letter in detail? All of it? All of it. Have you read his responses to the passages of the Old Testament? Yes?
I've read the letter, yes.
So he knows about the letter. And he knows why it was written. It was written to dissuade the Jewish community of Yemen from Islam. And for that reason, he did a good job. But he was a liar. He lied to his people. He misrepresented the situation. Now to Cairo Geniza. The Cairo Geniza record. Amazingly, Joseph, I'm sure he doesn't know who studied it. He doesn't know. He mentioned it.
Schechter's the main.
Who?
Schechter. Rabbi Schechter is the main guy.
No. Academically,
yes,
who published?
Yes, it's Schechter.
S.D. Goiten.
Yes, Goiten.
No. Goiten is the one who published them from the University of Pennsylvania, right? Okay, I have the entire set in my private library. Before you know. Okay, wait. Have you?
There's literally thousands and thousands of fragments, and to this day they're still being translated. So when he tells you he's got the set, there is no set. He's lying.
Okay, are you done?
Yes.
Which set am I talking about?
I don't. You said you've got the entire set of the Cairo Geniza.
No. He doesn't know what set I'm talking about, and he's calling me a liar. So this is what you call a liar, okay? When you don't know what you're doing, and then you start accusing. What set am I talking about?
You told me. You said
I just mentioned. You don't know. That's what I just mentioned the name. S.D. Goiten. Do you know the name?
Yes.
Okay. So do you know what set I'm talking about now?
So
do you know what set I'm talking?
Tell me.
So you don't know. Say I don't know.
Tell me.
Okay. So don't mention things you haven't even looked. Okay, wait.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. That's my point. You don't know what you're talking about.
So tell me the set.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Tell me the set.
Okay. You would know what I'm talking about if you knew what I'm talking about.
Tell me.
Because you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay? So by that virtue, Joseph, he likes to throw things thinking Muslims, these ignorant Jahil Muslims, they don't know their history, right? S.D. Goiten is a Zionist scholar who studied the Cairo Geniza records found in Cairo, in Egypt. Okay? and he did a commentary, a partial commentary, and he published 6 volumes, if I'm not mistaken, in yellow bindings. I have them at home in my personal library. Okay, so Joseph doesn't know what he's talking about. And firstly, why would we accept the study of a Zionist scholar on a record which was found in a Muslim country and it hasn't been studied by other academics to date? Why would we, if an ISIS scholar comes to me, Abu Bakr Baghdadi, let's say, he sanctions the study, he patronizes the study, go and study a record, and these ISIS people publish this record with flashy volumes, flashy titles. Am I to believe that? No, no. To us, anything these Zionists
Interpretation.
no,
you spoke for a long time.
Okay. Now. So the point is, ladies and gentlemen, he mentions exceptions from the Muslim man. I am going to now. He said, do you remember what he said? That speak to the Jewish people who lived under Islam. Yes? Yes? Did he say that? Yeah? To know the persecution. Yes? I'm going to now quote some Jewish people who lived under Islam. Rabbis.
And then can I
Okay,
respond?
wait.
Then respond after you. Yeah,
Listen, you have Jewish, they are living in Morocco, my friend. There is no problem
No,
at all.
wait.
And he knows that.
I have some crazy
They are
stuff.
living like...
Man.
While he's looking this up,
No, I'm not looking this up.
you
I'm reading it right now.
literally are looking it up.
I am reading it right now.
so
Wait. My time.
is excuse.
My time.
I mean, you have spoken
My
for
time.
a long
My
time.
time.
Adnan, like literally, I had a full head of hair before.
In 1420, Rabbi Yitzhak Rabbi Yitzhak Safati wrote a letter to his persecuted German brothers from the Ottoman Turkish territory. Listen now.
Guy, I've never heard of it.
He's a rabbi. Go and check. Oh, no. I'm quoting him.
He's not a major figure, is he?
Wait.
Is he a fringe figure?
He's a rabbi.
He's a random person.
He's a
from
rabbi.
Random
He's a
person
rabbi.
from
Okay,
history.
he's a rabbi. I know it's gonna hurt you. It's antiseptic. You know what antiseptic is? Antiseptic.
Okay, finish what you're saying.
What you're gonna hear now is going to shock you, not him, because he knows a lot of this stuff. That's why I call him Fox News, NBC, CNN put together. Okay. Rabbi writes to his brothers in Germany who are being persecuted by German authorities, Jewish people, in 1420. He writes, inviting them to join him in prosperous and tolerant Islamic lands. What is it? And I quote, this is what Rabbi wrote, your cries and laments have reached us. We have been told of all the sorrows and persecutions which you suffer in German lands. Listen, my brothers, if you knew even the 10th of what God has blessed us with in this land, you would give heed to no further difficulties. You would embark at once to us. Here the Jew is not compelled. Here the Jew, you don't like it, do you? You don't like it. Do you want to hear it? This is one of your rabbis talking. Yeah. Wait. I'm gonna finish this. Here the Jew is not compelled to wear a yellow hat. You remember yellow clothes and yellow hat? So Joseph, that's why, hence NBC, Fox, CNN put together, right? Either he doesn't know this stuff, and if he knows this stuff, then he's an outclass liar. Okay, here the Jew is not compelled to wear a yellow hat as a badge of shame. You will be free of your enemies. Here you will find peace. Rabbi Yitzhak. Okay, move on. Move on. Oh, no.
Literally, I was clean shaven at the beginning of the conversation.
Wait. I haven't finished. I'm not
We
finished.
have this debate every time we talk.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. The point is,
It's Groundhog Day.
I am not finished. Look at this. 3 people attacking me. This lady, this gentleman, and Joseph. They're not allowing me to speak. They will not. They don't like this information. The problem isn't the information. It's not what I'm saying. The problem isn't the is because this guy is being exposed. They don't like that. Okay, let me finish. Let me finish. Have the courtesy.
One more quote.
Allow me my freedom of speech. Allow me my freedom of speech.
You spoke
The Italian rabbi, Obadiah Yare.
Who are you even quoting now?
To bring the.
Who are you quoting?
Yeah, of course,
Okay.
Rabbi.
Can I finish?
Everything for you is Rabbi.
I quoted sources in a previous debate with Joseph. I quoted sources in a previous debate with Joseph, and Joseph challenged me on Twitter. Joseph went on a victory parade on Twitter, and he said, Adnan Rashid is quoting sources that don't exist. And he is claiming things that don't exist. So he's a liar on Twitter.
Really? He's going to do it now as
So
well.
what happens? He triggers Adnan Rashid, which is myself. So I go on my Twitter, I take all those quotes, and I start posting them. Joseph goes dumbstruck, completely silent, gone. And then when he comes back, he comes up with such lame things that people are actually laughing at him. So what the hell is wrong with you people? Why can't you see black and white and admit it? If someone shows you the sun, why can't? So now I'm going to do the same thing today. Joseph is trying to discredit these sources. I'm quoting rabbis, learned Jewish men living in these lands. So Italian rabbi Obadiah Yare da Bertinoro traveled to Jerusalem in 1486. Wrote a letter to his father telling him about the country and his people. A rabbi traveling through Jerusalem in the 15th century when it's being ruled by who? The Muslims, right? The Jews are not persecuted by the Arabs in these parts. I'm quoting. I have traveled through the country in its length and breadth, and none of them has put an obstacle in my way. They are very kind to me. Wait, they are very kind to me. What's your problem? What's your problem?
Why don't you answer me direct?
I'm not debating you. I'm not debating you. I'm debating him.
You're debating yourself and you've spoken for an hour. You've literally spoken for about 20 minutes.
Okay. Listen. Why am I doing this?
You're trying to bore it. Literally half the audience.
Why are you so triggered? Why are you so triggered? Why are you so triggered? I'm not debating you, am I? Why do I have to respond to you? You're from the crowd. I'm not debating the crowd. I cannot debate all these people. I'm only talking to one person. That's why I request from you that if you want to talk to me, you will definitely be given a chance. We'll talk to you. So let me finish my point, please. Please, because you're actually. Why are you suppressing my voice? Why do you not want me to speak? Why is this so painful?
No,
this is painful. She's taking all time. I'm not going to.
You're taking my time. Not her, mate.
When you were being heckled.
Literally, I made one point.
Ladies and gentlemen, when Joseph was being heckled, he had a problem with it. He came straight to me. Oh, now I start speaking and these Muslims are heckling me. I told those Muslims to stop. You are all witnesses.
Yes.
Joseph, for some reason, is not talking to the lady. Can you tell her to be quiet? Please jeopardize the debate.
Please be quiet.
Let me just finish.
Let him finish, and then we'll bring it back to Israel today, which is what she's asking for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to respond to you just for the benefit of the camera. He's bringing his sources. I'm going to bring my sources, and then we're going to go back to what the debate's supposed to be about, which is Israel. Okay. Every time he goes to the same talking point.
Okay.
We've literally had this debate 5 times.
What am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Because you've got the same talking points. You've got nothing else to say.
Can you tell the lady to be quiet?
She has been quiet. She's not talking.
I will not speak until she goes quiet. I will not speak.
She's not talking.
No, she's talking.
But she's talking to someone else.
No, I can't do this.
I can't stop someone talking to someone else.
No, you were asking me to do it to Muslims.
No, he's talking to
No,
me.
you were asking me to do it to Muslims.
Someone was
Okay, and when a Jewish lady screaming at me,
the guy was
you
asking
cannot
me for
stop
a
her.
fight on screen.
Okay,
Slightly different than someone talking to someone else over there.
Zionists cannot suppress our voices.
Literally, no one is suppressing your voice. You haven't shut up, mate.
Okay. So now, coming back to why am I reading these quotes? Who is going to tell me why am I reading these quotes? Because Joseph himself, during his time, said, let's go to the Jewish people and talk to them. Ask them how they lived under Islam and what they felt about it. I'm responding directly to one of the points he raised, which is a fair point. So here a Jewish rabbi is saying that they are very kind to strangers, particularly, brother, take the lady away, please, and talk to brother. I'm trying to read. Sorry. This lady she's been trying to disrupt the debate for a long time. So don't speak, don't engage with her, please. Don't engage with her. The way they are very kind to strangers, particularly to anyone who does not know the language. And if they see many Jews together, they are not annoyed by it. In my opinion, an intelligent man versed in political science might easily raise himself to be a chief of the Jews as well as of the Arabs among them. Okay, you stop there. No, one more.
Literally, Adnan, come on, mate.
One more.
I haven't spoke for half an hour, mate.
One more.
Is this the Adnan show or is it a debate?
Wait.
Are we debating or are you talking to yourself?
Just finishing right now.
One more quote. This is ridiculous.
No, wait. So now what Joseph might do, he might come back, okay, and he might say that these are exceptional testimonies, and these Jewish rabbis, they had their personal experiences. They don't represent the overwhelming majority of the Jewish people and their views. Okay? For that, what do? We go to secondary sources, modern scholarship, recent scholars who have studied all of these primary sources, primary testimonies of the Jewish people, and these Jewish scholars will tell you what happened to the Jewish people in these times, and they will give you the general picture, not Zionists.
Not Zionists. To secondary sources. It's my turn to speak.
Okay, wait. If you're going to stop me,
I am going to stop you. It's my turn to speak.
If you are, okay, wait.
Like, literally, you've been on 20 minutes, mate.
Because I'm being interrupted. I could have finished. I'm being interrupted.
Adnan, I'm going to walk away unless you shut up, mate. This is ridiculous.
Okay, if you want to walk away, no problem.
This is ridiculous.
I'm going to have to finish.
3 seconds.
Don't throw stones at me and expect me to take it. No, I'm going to throw back rocks.
I spoke 3 to 5 minutes of you speak for like 20 minutes.
It's very painful.
It's painful for everyone else. You haven't shut up. You have not shut up.
If you let me finish, I would have finished.
Finish, please, finish. That's all we want you to do, mate.
Finish your course. Finish your course of squeezing me. Finish your course of squeezing me. Okay? So Zain Zohar, a Jewish scholar from the US, a recent scholar. I read some primary sources to you, rabbis and their testimonies. Why did I read them? So that you can actually hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say, yeah? Eyewitnesses who saw and they described. But then people like this, Zionist propagandists, they come back and say, oh, these are exceptional testimonies, they don't matter, the overwhelming experience of the Jewish people, the norm, the norm wasn't this, these are exceptions. No. So for the norm, we have a rule in academia. We go to secondary sources, we go to modern scholars who have studied these ideas, these quotes, and then they give their conclusions. They tell you what was the norm. This was the norm. Zain Zohar, a Jewish historian, he's not a Muslim historian, a Jewish historian. He writes in his book titled A History of Sephardic and Mizrahi Jewry. On page number 8 and 9 he states, thus, when Muslims crossed the Straits of Gibraltar from North Africa in 711 CE and invaded the Iberian Peninsula, which is Spain, Jews welcomed them as liberators from Christian persecution. Born during this era of Islamic rule, the famous golden age of Spanish Jewry, circa 900 to 1200, 300 years. A Jewish historian is saying these 300 years this was the golden age of the Jewish people. He produced such luminaries as statesmen and diplomats, Hasda ibn Chaprut, Vizier and army commander Samuel Hanagid, poet philosophers like Solomon ibn Gabriel and Judah Halavi, and at the apex of all of them was Moses bin Maimun, also known among the Spaniards as Maimonides. Okay, I will stop here because now Joseph, before he has a heart attack, listening to all this, I will stop and I will let him respond, and when he finishes I will come back with more medicine. This time, this will be surgery. Okay, what I just gave you was the anesthesia, right?
Definitely put everyone to sleep.
But when I come back, will be the surgery itself. Okay.
Okay. So Adnan was very gracious in admitting that he put everyone to sleep with his 2-hour diatribe.
Every Zionist to sleep. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, for everyone's sake, I'm going to race through a few quotes from the Cairo Geniza. I'm going to race through a few Islamic quotes. I'm going to race through a few examples of what it was actually like to live as a Jew under Islam back then.
Can we time it now?
Adnan, stop talking, mate!
How long?
Mate, stop talking.
Yes, well, you had about
3 minutes. Let's do 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
No, we're not
Otherwise,
doing
give him
3
five,
minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, no problem.
Adnan, you
Give him 5 minutes, then 3 minutes.
No, we're doing 20 minutes of me because you just spoke for half an hour, and then we can go 3 minutes.
No, wait.
Adnan, stop.
Wait.
Shut up.
Wait. No, I'm not
Stop.
shutting up.
You can use
Stop.
something. You can use
5 minutes.
No,
5
not
minutes
5
for him,
minutes. I'm gonna
and then
speak-
3 minutes.
No.
3 minutes. Because like this, we're going to
Have
continue
you
for hours
seen?
upon hours.
Look at the count. Everyone in the comments. Everyone in the comments. Everyone in the comments. I want you. Everyone in the comments. Everyone in the comments. I want you to watch back. If you're watching this, start timing how long he spoke for and how long I spoke for, and then listen to the audacity of this clown say that I'm going to speak for 5 minutes after you've just spoke for 20 minutes and bored everyone.
Let people-
The entire crowd has changed because you
Let
spoke
people
for so
decide
long.
who's a clown here. Let people
Yeah,
decide.
please. So now what we're going to do, we're going to
You
quickly
calling me a clown doesn't make me a clown, does it? I'm the one coming out with sources.
Adnan,
I'm the one coming out with
Adnan,
sources.
shut up, mate.
5 minutes.
Adnan, shut up. Stop
5
talking.
minutes. 5 minutes.
Stop talking.
We're gonna moderate this debate.
Adnan,
5 minutes.
Adnan,
5 minutes.
No, stop talking. I'll stop talking when I want to stop.
5
talking.
minutes?
No, I'll stop talking when I want to talk.
Okay.
Just like you
Okay.
do.
Wait.
Just like
Because
you do.
this is a crybaby, so he's gonna go later on and cry about it. So I'm gonna let him go on. I'm gonna let him go on, and then next time we're gonna do 3 minutes. Fine?
can't-
Is that fine? Okay, go on, crybaby.
Notice how he can't.
And notice how this lady will not talk now when he talks.
My time.
Notice how she will go quiet. Notice how she will go quiet. Start talking. Notice how she will go quiet.
I feel sorry for Adnan's wives. I really do. I really do. Yeah, well, I'm sure you have a whole harem. Adnan, I feel sorry.
You think I have a harem?
I'm sure you do. I feel sorry for each and every one of them because, my goodness, they need to have good ears to listen because you do not stop talking.
You're 20 minutes starting now.
Even when you're
You're 20 minutes. If you have 20 minutes to talk, no
Look,
problem.
he can't even let me speak. I can't even make a joke about his wife.
Okay, wait. Okay, you're starting now. Are you going to talk now? Yes. I'm talking. The lady. I'm talking. By the way, I'm asking this lady behind the cameras who's been making noise. Who's been making noise when I was speaking, right? Now watch. She will not speak now. For 20 minutes, she will not speak.
Notice how it's my time and he's got more time speaking than me.
Go on. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Depends what he speaks.
Let's see what he say. Let's see what he say.
Continue speaking, please.
Let's see what he say. Everything is
Can
the
you
same.
continue speaking in his time? Can you make that noise you were making at my time?
Some examples of what it was actually like to live as an ordinary Jew, not from some cherry-picked examples of history that back up his argument, which actually misrepresent what the text says. It's amazing when you go to the text. He will say things like it was that they said what was the word you used precisely? Something like the Jews that said it was beautiful to live under. I can't even remember the words. How the protection that they offered. And when I went to the sources, it wasn't talking about Muslims. It was talking about Gentiles, non-Jews in general. But anyway, I'm going to get to the actual.
Not my time, so I will respond.
Okay.
I will respond.
So here's some examples of the quotes from the Geniza. This is from the Cairo Geniza. So let's go. A man from Alexandria was forced to flee from the city because he was unable to pay the jizya for his young boy. He implored Abraham ibn Moshe Maimon, one of the descendants of Maimonides, the son of Maimonides, sorry, for help.
Joseph.
Adnan, let me speak.
Sorry. I have a question. I have a quick question.
No,
Why is she not speaking now?
Adnan, behave
You're
yourself.
speaking now.
Behave
Stop
yourself.
touching me, Adnan. I'm not your wife. Stop manhandling me.
It's halal for Muslim men to touch other human beings.
I don't like it when you stroke my arm. I don't like it.
Mommy will smack you soon.
I'm going to touch you with a cold bottle.
With your miswak. A man from Alexandria was forced to flee from the city because he was unable to pay the jizya for his young boy. He implored Abraham ibn Maimonides' son, for help, stating that he had been unsuccessful in obtaining any work, although he was willing to work for only 1 silver dirham daily as a wage. So a man was forced to flee because he couldn't pay the tax. Umar II forbade the dhimma to enter a bathhouse on Friday. Oh, actually, I'll come back to those. 15,000 gold coins, and this is so charging the community in Jerusalem, I believe. 15,000 gold coins, and to add to that, some 6,000 fell on the Jews of Jerusalem. And we gave them 2,500 gold coins until we were out of everything we had. Empty, naked, sad and poor. Nothing remained to a man in his house, even the dress for himself. Houseware, some of us mortgaged their houses with interest in order to pay, and some of them sold them completely. Many of this is their suffering. Another one from the Geniza. The condition in Jerusalem is torturous and breaks everybody, and the burden is too heavy to bear. The tax of captivity and the compulsion of the ledgers, which is worse than anything. Literally, Adnan will tell you that it was great living as a Jew. When you read what the communities in Jerusalem, when you read what the communities in Fustat, when you read what the communities in all of these places were saying, when it's recorded in their Geniza, in the Geniza he claims to have.
Is the time there?
Adnan!
No, not that time. The chronology of these
yes,
quotes.
that was 1029, so this is what they're the 11th century.
All from the 11th century.
No, so some of those.
So can you give me the chronology as well?
So yeah, those
That's very relevant to our debate.
Yes.
Chronology. When are these quotes? Actually, Cairo Geniza has documents for 1,000 years.
So Maimonides was the 13th century. So his son, that was the 1200s. The last two I read were the 11th century. So we've just got 2 centuries of the time that Adnan is saying is the golden era for Jews, or just immediately after that. He said this is Salahuddin. This is the time of Salahuddin and his descendants. This is in Fustat. This is in Alexandria. This is in Egypt. So to go on. So what Adnan doesn't mention is what it was actually like to live as a Jew. So now I'm going to go to Muslim sources. So when it comes to synagogues, we will neither erect...
Which Muslim source?
So this is the Pact of Omar, and then all the scholars afterwards on the Pact of Omar. And what was the Tabari in various places, various people.
Okay, well,
Adnan!
No.
I didn't interrupt you.
You asked me about the rabbis. Remember when I was
just asked who it was. I gave you who it was. Yeah. I'm asking you to
likewise.
interject.
I'm not stopping you.
Okay.
I'm not interjecting. I'm asking for you to clarify.
Okay, I will. So this is the Pact of Omar, and then we'll go to...
Which is a forgery.
Okay, so...
it's a forgery, by the way.
Okay, we'll get there.
So read it, no problem. I just want to clarify for everyone, it's a forgery.
It was a forgery which almost every caliphate enforced. So Adnan today, in Speaker's Corner, is saying it's a forgery, yet almost every caliphate...
You're going to have to prove that. You're going to have to prove that every caliphate...
I said
every E-V-E-R-Y with capitals. Every caliphate enforced it.
Adnan!
Now you're going to have to show us how.
Adnan!
I'm waiting. Your time. I'm waiting. Every now.
Adnan!
I want to every.
Adnan, stop talking. It's not your turn.
So it's not every, right? Clearly, it's not every.
I don't know. Have you noticed how terrified he is of letting a Jew
I am
speak?
so terrified that I wanna hear
Adnan,
every
talking.
I'm waiting. 20 minutes more.
We will need
every caliphate.
Adnan, you had your turn. I'm not your wife. You don't rule over me. It's my turn to speak.
I don't rule over my wife.
We will
She's not my slave.
You know all about slavery,
Islam.
You know all about slavery.
You want to talk about what happens?
We will neither erect. We will neither erect.
You want to talk about what?
We will neither erect in areas. Okay, this is Umar II, not Umar I. I'll just get. So basically, the Pact of Omar says that Jews and Christians can't rebuild their buildings if they fall into disrepair. Adnan thinks it's a forgery. That's fine. Adnan's entitled to his opinion.
I will quote scholarship.
Abu Yusuf.
Who is Abu Yusuf?
Okay, we'll get there.
I know who he is.
I know you know who he is.
So you tell me who's Abu Yusuf. I told you Maimonides, right? I told you Maimonides. I quote the source and I give you an introduction. Who is Abu Yusuf? Who is Abu Yusuf? This is Fox News, NBC and CNN put together, reading from Google.
Adnan, let me
Abu Yusuf
Adnan, let me
Who Abu
speak.
Yusuf?
Have you
Abu
noticed,
Yusuf.
notice how he spoke for an hour and I didn't interrupt him? Every time I make a comment, he heckles, he talks. Adnan,
No.
let me speak. So, under Islam, under most of the caliphates, Jews were not allowed to rebuild their synagogues. I'm now going to bring examples from history of that, yeah? So, this is Umar II. This is 8th century. Do not destroy any Jewish or Christian house of worship.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. Adnan, stop talking, mate. I did not interrupt you.
We got to talk.
Not even sanctuaries of fire worship.
Why are you so quiet?
If they
You
were-
look so beautiful when you're quiet. You look so beautiful when you're
Adnan,
quiet.
I wish you farewell, mate. I'm not going to do it.
Sorry, continue.
No, Joseph, let Adnan answer me, please. Let him answer me.
I've triggered already.
Yeah, give me
I've
20
triggered already.
minutes from your time.
Okay.
He did not answer. I want to ask when
No, I wanted to
was
continue.
Jerusalem. You answer me.
I will
Adnan.
answer, I will answer.
When was Jerusalem the capital to any Arab country except to the Jewish people?
When was Jerusalem?
The capital
Yeah.
of any Arab country except to the Jewish people.
I will answer the question later on.
Answer. Well,
No,
not later on.
because this is
No,
time.
You want to digest
Because-
it?
Do you want me to answer her?
Yes, yes, answer.
Just because then I think she'll stop. She'll let us speak. So just
Okay. Jerusalem,
quickly.
Jerusalem has
The
been,
date.
okay. When you say a capital,
Yes,
you
capital.
mean a capital of a Muslim dynasty.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
he was the Khalifa,
we-
he was
we-
Rashidin,
we-
the Umayyads, everybody.
We've had many Palestinian dynasties.
Was that to do with the Palestinian never was a state called
No,
Palestinian.
you're not letting me answer the question.
No, I want to answer you when you mislead people. You say Palestinian.
Can I answer the question?
Okay, answer me.
Oh, can I
What
answer?
way Palestinian state, who was the last president? Answer.
Who was the last president of what?
The Palestinian state you're talking about. When was Palestinian sovereignty? Never. Never. Never.
Okay. So can I answer?
Tfaddal.
I will ask you to read a book written by a Jewish
I
scholar.
don't want to read. I cannot read. I want you to answer me.
Okay.
Answer her.
I will give you two. I'm answering. Can you let me finish?
Tfaddal.
Can you? Tfaddal. So let me. Yeah. You're saying tfaddal, but you're not letting me. You know.
No, I get quiet.
Okay. I will invite you to read two books. Okay. Two books. The answer is there. History of Jerusalem by Karen Armstrong. Let me finish. Let me finish. Karen Armstrong, History of Jerusalem, and another by a Jewish scholar, History of Palestine by a Jewish scholar. Okay, it's published by Cambridge University Press, and it covers the entire Islamic period. Okay, you will see the importance Palestine
Have
in
you
general.
read those books? If you
Of
read
course.
them,
Let me-
please
please.
enlighten me.
Okay, please.
Please enlighten me about the last president of Palestine, so-called Palestine. Answer.
I don't accept this leadership to be proper leadership
Why?
of the Palestinians. Yeah.
You don't accept.
Yeah, they're not sincere with the people. Continue.
Okay. So
Okay. Now let me finish as well. I haven't finished because I like to speak. I want you to enlighten me. You read Oxford.
You want to be enlightened?
What?
You want to be enlightened?
No, I know a lot of things.
Bring her.
But I want
But do you
to
want me to
listen
enlighten you? Then you
your
have to let me
logic.
enlighten you.
No, I don't want
you
to.
shut
I
up
want
and let
to
him
listen.
answer.
No, don't be rude.
I want you to answer
She's elderly.
my question.
We have to respect
Are
her.
you talking about us occupier? When he was the Muslim, come from Al
What is your
Jazeera,
name?
you
Can you shut up?
occupied the
Let him
Middle East.
answer.
You called it Futuhat. Your occupation
You're right.
Futuhat.
Yeah,
We
you're right.
return to our land.
You are
الذي
very
كتب
rude.
الله لنا. ادخلوا الأرض الذي كتب الله لكم.
Okay, no problem.
It's ours.
Okay.
So don't talk
Who are
about
you, man? Just
Zionism.
piece of shit.
It's ours.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. I will let you speak now. You've said what you wanted. Thank you. Thank you.
Tfaddal.
Now,
Let him answer.
over to you, Joseph. Your 30, 40 minutes. Go on. The timer has gone. Our timer has run away. Our where is the moderator? The moderator has given up.
Don't talk about Zionism, please.
Okay, Joseph, it's recording. The sound is working. I can see it. Leave it alone and come in. Finish your go. Because you're running out of evidence. I can see it. I can see it. You only got 1 or 2 lines left now.
I've got loads. Literally multiple.
No problem. Google lines.
Adnan. So, I'm going to speak now. Adnan tries to present a history of Jews under Islam, where Jews occupied high positions, they were protected people, and they did not suffer persecution. That is a lie. And he knows it's a lie because he's read the sources I'm about to bring. I know you've read Tabari. I know you've read Tabari many times because you've quoted it to me. So,
I'm waiting.
So, this is Tabari. So he mentioned a rabbi who nobody's heard of saying that Jews didn't have to wear distinctive clothing under the Ottomans in that year. This is now Tabari.
Okay.
And this is in the year 853.
Please do quote. But I was talking about the 15th century. When did Tabari live? So you don't know.
I don't know.
So how is
Adnan, can I make a
I
point?
want you to read, Joseph. I want you to read. But how is Tabari relevant to my quote? My quote is from the 15th century.
Yeah, later, after Tabari, yeah? Much later.
How many years?
I'd imagine maybe 15th century, 400, 600 years?
More than that.
More, okay, 700 years.
More than that.
So 700,
so,
800.
Yeah.
So Tabari would have been 800.
Tabari was alive in the 10th century. Tabari was alive in the 10th century. And we're talking 500 years difference. So you're making something relevant.
You said it was the 15th century.
Yeah. 500 years. Between Tabari and the court. Yeah, between Tabari and the court I read.
15 that means 1400s.
Yeah.
Okay. So 400 years, that's fine. In this year, Al-Mutawakkil ordered, this is the year 853, that the dhimmis affixed 2 yellow sleeves to their outer clothes. So one of the first people to make Jews wear distinctive clothing wasn't the Nazis with the yellow star, it was the Abbasids with the yellow sleeve. And this is still Tabari, and this is now the year 853. In this year, the same Caliph Al-Mutawakkil ordered that churches and synagogues newly built under Islam be destroyed. So the Caliph declared that Jewish synagogues should be destroyed. This is in the year 1419. Sorry, 8543, sorry. 853, sorry, still Tabari, so not 14. The page is 1419, sorry. He ordered that they restrict them so that Jews restrict their mounts to mules and donkeys and avoid riding pack horses. So under the Abbasids, Jews weren't even allowed to ride horses. They had to humble themselves and ride donkeys. This is a really interesting thing. Adnan talks about how Jews had these grand positions in Muslim society. What he misses out is why. First, they were the only ones that could do that, and the huge opposition that came from the scholars, from the ulama, to that. So I'm now going to read it from, again. This is now from a modern historian. Moshe Gil, Harun al-Rashid, Al-Mamun and Muqtadir ruled that Jews, Christians should not be employed in public office except for physicians and money changers. So I'm going to continue. So,
okay, no problem. Have your time, because my surgery is coming. Before the effects of anesthesia fade away, I want to do my surgery before you wake up.
Ibn Hubayra, who was the vizier to I actually really love this one. This is really, really interesting.
He loves this one.
All agree that no new synagogues or churches should be built in Islamic countries, in cities either open or fortified. Opinion is divided over whether it's permissible to build a new house of worship near the city.
Please. You're disturbing the debate, brother.
Malik, Shafi and Hanbali have said that it's too forbidden, but Hanafi said that if the place is near the city,
You don't know what these things are?
yes, there's a format.
Okay. What is the name?
So I just said Mali, Hanafi, Mali.
No, wait. Don't look. Tell me which four schools. What are the names of four schools?
What is this? Can
You don't know. Okay, can you let the camera see what you're reading from? Let them see. It's a bunch of quotes
that I put together in Excel.
Yeah, it's a bunch of lines without context. Joseph does not have a clue. What he has done, he has collected this information.
Adnan, stop talking. You asked me what they were. I said they're the four madhab, yeah? And I said there's consensus.
Continue.
There's consensus amongst them.
Continue,
that
Joseph.
a Jew, I don't need your permission, Adnan, that a Jew cannot build their house of worship and cannot build a new house of worship under Islam. So what Adnan wants to do, he wants to present a history where Jews and Muslims are equal. When you read what it was actually like, so he said in the 15th century what it was like to live as a Jew under the Muslims in Israel. What he misses out in 1517, just a few years later, the entire community of Hebron was massacred. The Jewish community of Jaffa was massacred. So Adnan cherry picks his quote. And what you'll notice was this happens every time we talk. This conversation started with Zionism. I challenged Adnan to a debate about Zionism, and what he does every time is rehash his same old quotes, same old talk point. Each time we talk, I bring different quotes. You bring the same old played out quotes, which you misquote, you misrepresent. You've never read the primary sources. You've never read the primary sources. Okay. Because you misrepresent them. If he would, he brings sources which actually ridicule Islam, and he brings them as proof of supporting and worshipping Islam.
Okay. Can I now?
No, you can't. So I want to bring it back to what the debate actually started about, and that is Israel-Palestine. And Adnan made a disgraceful and shameful comparison between the modern state of Israel and ISIS. Now I'm going to rip that apart.
That's a very good comparison.
I'm going to rip that apart. Israel.
No, wait.
No.
Let me deal with history.
No.
We're going to come to Israel.
No,
let me deal with history.
I literally said when I started
So I'm going to speak for half an hour.
You can speak for as long as you want. I'm going to speak.
No problem. Good. That's it. Surgery will be prolonged.
Fine. Adnan made the disgusting comparison to the Islamic State in Syria and Iraq
And the Jewish state of Israel.
and Israel.
Yeah.
Israel.
Just as Islamic is, that state is as Jewish as.
Adnan, stop. Israel is a secular democracy. There are 2 million Arabs that live there. They have complete equality with the Jews. So much so, there is an Islamic political party that is in the government today. They are in government. There are Arab judges who sent Jewish prime ministers and presidents to jail. The best performing religious group in Israel in education aren't religious Jews, it's Arab Christians. Adnan wants to paint a picture where this beacon of democracy and equality in the Middle East is comparable to his co-religionists who enslave Yazidi women and rape and murder them, who behead people of even Muslims who have a slightly different interpretation of Islam. They burn them, behead them. They
Just made my point.
They slaughtered hundreds of thousands of their own fellow Muslims and fellow non-Muslims who were living.
You're helping me.
Not ISIS.
In comparison, Israel goes to incredible lengths to preserve the lives of Palestinian civilians. It treats Palestinians in its hospitals. It helps with the infrastructure. It provides electricity. So anyone.
Yes, I talked about it.
The reason Adnan makes these comparisons is he is ashamed by his co-religionists, and the greatest insult he can think of to tar any state with is to compare it to his co-religionists in Syria.
Okay. So can I now respond?
You can respond. Yeah.
Okay, good. So first to history. My surgery begins. What Joseph did He read you quotes which he has collected from internet, from Google searches, from Zionist websites, maybe Zionist propagandists. And when he's reading examples of persecution, he's reading of a Jewish man found jizya to be very high. Another Jewish man was wronged in such and such place. But do you notice? Did you notice when I read the quotes, they represented social realities. They represented a lot of people, how they lived under Islam and Muslims. I will continue with that. Okay. Now, the city of Jerusalem. Okay. What happened throughout history with the Jewish people is the question. How did they feel under Islam? There are books written by academics. Now I challenge Joseph, how do we come to the conclusion? I can read quotes and quotes and he will read all his snippets and then people will be confused. One simple challenge. Academics who are recognized by institutions as scholars.
Yeah,
okay?
Moshe Gill's a preeminent scholar on Jewish Islamic relations. Read him.
Yeah, Moshe Gill is the one who wrote the history of Palestine.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the one.
Have you read him?
Yeah.
So you know
I know.
what the truth is.
Okay. No. Have you read Moshe Gill, right?
Yeah, I've got both his books.
Okay, good, brilliant. That's so nice. I'm so happy to hear that. Have you read Amnon Cohen? Okay. Have you read Jacob Lesnar? Have you read Bernard Lewis? Okay, which one? Jews of Islam. Have you read it? Have you read the book? Are you sure? What does he say in that book about the Jews and the Muslims? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. He has read the book. Now let's see if he's honest about it.
I disagree with Bernard Lewis. Bernard Lewis has wrote rose-tinted glasses.
Moshe Gill. By the way, all the people I mentioned are Jewish. All the people Amnon Cohen, Jewish.
But Moshe Gill is
Bernard Lewis, Jewish. Jacob Lesnar, Jewish. He has, remember,
is Moshe Gill.
Just I want you to notice his body language. When he mentioned Moshe Gill, and he became excited. I've read it. I've got 2 volumes. Okay, but when I mention other Jewish scholars, a plethora of them. Have you read Zion Zohar? Okay. Okay. Do you want me to keep mentioning names? I'm going to give you a list of Jewish scholars who will dismantle your Zionism historically. They will show you how disingenuous you people are. Wait.
This is
okay.
Wait. He's playing tricks.
No, it's my turn.
Sorry, you're asking me questions, so I was responding to your questions.
So how do we know what Joseph is saying and what I'm saying? We go to secondary sources. We go to Jewish scholars and non-Muslim scholars who have written on this phenomenon. Okay, they will tell you that the Jews lived under Islam in protection and prosperity. Jewish scholars. I'm not talking about Muslim propagandists, imams, or Muslim theologians writing these books, trying to present them to the Zionists. Jewish scholars writing this, such as, for example, okay, Dean Philip Bell. Yeah, who is a professor of Jewish history in the no, he's a professor of Jewish history, Jewish studies. Okay, I don't know if he's Jewish. We can check. Okay, Dean Philip Bell, Professor Dean Philip Bell, who is Dean and Professor of Jewish history at Spertus Institute of Jewish Studies in Chicago. This is what he had to say in his book. Okay, what does he say? He's a professor of Jewish history. He's a current, recent scholar who has studied all of these quotes and beyond. What does he say? Jews under medieval Islam never suffered from same general negative perception as in the Christian West. Are you listening? Despite regional variations and high medieval political instability, in medieval Islam, multicultural environments combined with active engagement in sciences and literature led to something of an Islamic golden age for the Jews, at least according to most historical accounts. So what Dean Philip Bell, a professor of Jewish history in an institute in Chicago, is saying, most historical accounts tell us that the Jews had a golden age under Islam. Okay? And then he continues, it has been primarily in the context of recent political developments that the once assumed positive view of Jewish life under medieval Islam have been seriously questioned. What recent political developments is he talking about? What? The state of Israel. The state of Israel and the Zionist movement, right? It is only the Zionists who have challenged this golden age of Islam, of the Jewish people, because it goes against the agenda. What do the Zionists argue like Joseph has been arguing? Why are we even having this debate? The reason we're having this debate is because Joseph was a Zionist, proud Zionist, self-proclaiming Zionist. He has said that Jews needed protection. Their lives were in danger. What happened in Germany could happen again. Even though some scholars said that if Muslims are ruling Germany, we would have 6 million more Jews in the world today. Okay, some Muslim scholars said this, right? So why do the Zionists have to make up this lie and this story that the Jews were heavily persecuted under Islam, even though the overwhelming majority of Jewish historians writing on Jewish history, yeah, they say that the Jews lived under Islam in harmony and protection for over 1,000 years. And who is saying this? Not Muslim historians, Israeli Jewish historians, including Bernard Lewis, who was seen as an authority on the history of Islam. He died over 90 years old. He was advising the US government during the Iraq war. He actually advised President Bush to attack Iraq. Bernard Lewis. This is hostile. This is how hostile this person. He has written a book titled The Jews of Islam. In this book he states what? The Jews lived in relative harmony under Islam. Such a hostile person to Islam and Muslims is writing this, and he doesn't like it because he's a Zionist. Bernard Lewis, he did. And then his conclusion was that all of these exceptional events and incidents put together cannot outdo or outweigh the positive experience of the Jewish people for over 1,000 years with Muslims. This is his conclusion. And not only that, other Israeli scholars, the surgery commences. This is the surgery. Now Joseph is going to enjoy the surgery. Amnon Cohen. Why do Israelis, Zionists like this man, have to argue that the Jewish people had no chance under Islam, even though they survived? Brother,
what do you mean by Zionists?
brother, we're having a debate. We're in the middle of a debate, so I'll come back to you. Okay. Amnon Cohen, a Jewish historian from Israel, studied the documents stored in the archives of the Sharia Court of Jerusalem, commonly known as Sigil, from the 16th century, whereby he found 1,000 Jewish cases filed from the year 1530 to 1601 with the Sharia courts. Cohen published his research in 1994, and during his research he made some astonishing discoveries, as he himself states, and I quote Cohen. He states, cases concerning Jews cover a very wide spectrum of topics. If we bear in mind that the Jews of Jerusalem had their own separate courts, the number of the cases brought to Muslim courts, which actually meant putting themselves at the mercy of a judge outside the pale of their communal and religious identity, is quite impressive. The Jews went to the Muslim court for a variety of reasons, but the overwhelming fact was their ongoing and almost permanent presence there. This indicates that they went there not only in search of justice, but did so hoping, or rather knowing, that more often than not they would attain redress when wronged. The Jews went to court to resolve much more than their conflicts with Muslims or Christian neighbors. They turned to Sharia authorities to seek redress with respect to internal differences and even matters within their immediate family, intimate relations between husband and wife, nafaka maintenance payments, to divorce support and infants, etc. He continues, their possessions were protected although they might have had to pay for extra protection at night for their houses and commercial properties. Their title deeds and other official documents indicating their rights were honored when presented to the court, being treated like those of their Muslim neighbors. Keep in mind, this is an Israeli scholar called Adnan Cohen writing about the condition of the Jewish people in the city of Jerusalem in the 16th century when the Ottomans were ruling the city under Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. And he continues, the picture emerging from the sigil documents is baffling. On the one hand, we encounter recurring sultanic decree sent to Jerusalem in response to pleas of the Jews. The Jews are pleading with the Sultan to the effect that nothing should be done to stop them from applying their own law. Regarding a variety of matters, there are also many explicit references to the other overriding importance of applying Sharia law to them only if they so choose. On the other hand, if we look closely at some of the inheritance lists, we see that the local code allocated to female members of Jewish families half the share given to male members, exactly as in Islamic law. This meant ipso facto a significant improvement in the status of Jewish women with respect to legacies over that accorded them by Jewish tradition, although it actually meant the application of Islamic law and in an internal Jewish context. He, the Muslim judge, defended Jewish causes jeopardized by high-handed behavior of local governors. He enabled Jewish business people and craftsmen to lease properties from Muslim and endowments on an equal footing with Muslim bidders. More generally, he respected their rituals and places of worship and guarded them against encroachment, even when the perpetrators were other Muslim dignitaries. It doesn't stop.
Neither do you.
Adnan Cohen now concludes, having studied the sigil court records, a Jewish Israeli scholar published this research in 1994, and I'm quoting him word by word, against what Zionists like Joseph argue, that Jews were always persecuted, they were always in a state of fear, they never prospered, they were always being brutalized by Muslims, and the list goes on, right? And using what? Those snippets he used earlier. And this is what modern scholarship of the Jewish people has to say to the Jewish people. His conclusion is, Adnan Cohen, and I quote, no one interfered with the internal organization or the external cultural and economic activities. In a world where civil and political equality or positive social change affecting the group or even the individual were not the norms, the Sultan's Jewish subjects had no reason to mourn their status or begrudge their conditions of life. The Jews of Ottoman Jerusalem enjoyed religious and administrative autonomy within an Islamic state, and as a constructive, dynamic element of the local economy and society, they could and actually did contribute to its functioning. So, what point am I trying to make? This is a Jewish scholar from Israel, and there's a list of them. There are many Jewish scholars who simply cannot lie, even though some of them are spin doctors, no doubt. Some of these Zionist academics teaching in Israel and beyond, they like to spin facts, or they like to downplay the Islamic role in the well-being of the Jewish people, generally speaking. But there are those who know their integrity, their credibility is at stake. That's why people like Bernard Lewis, as hostile as he was to the Middle East or to the Arabs, in his public lectures, he said openly, in fact, in one of the lectures delivered in Israel in front of these Zionist Jewish activists, he said to them, there is no doubt that the Muslims allowed the Jewish people to live in harmony and peace. Okay? There's no doubt about that. Don't ever question that. Okay? So how on earth can Zionist activists like this can come and start quoting from primary sources out of context? Now, I'm going to finish now. I want him to now bring me a recognized Jewish academic, let's say not Christian, not an atheist, not a Muslim, a Jewish academic who has said that Jews were persecuted throughout the Muslim history in the Muslim lands. One Jewish recognized academic, quoting, bring his quotes, bring his conclusions. Read to me what he said. I want you to know, I produced, how many did I produce? How many? You've been listening to me. I produced a number of authorities from the Jewish sources to argue that the Jews flourished prosperously under Islam. I produced many, and did I quote one Islamic source? Did I quote one Muslim source? I did not. I'm relying heavily on Jewish sources. I want him to now produce one Jewish academic recognized by Western institutions or any reputable institution who said that the Jews as a norm suffered under Islam throughout the history of Islam within the Muslim civilization. Yalla, over to you.
What I find amazing about this is Adnan claims to be a historian, and he just ridiculed me for using primary sources. This is absurd. So for those that don't understand how history works,
and now Mr. Historian is going to teach us.
Yeah.
Do you have a qualification in history?
You have, you know.
I have. I do.
I know you do. Which is the comedy of what you just said.
No. So I can stand and say, let me teach you how history works.
Adnan, stop talking. You have what's called a primary source, which is the original.
You can tell us how Zionism works.
You have a primary
Zionist
source,
history works.
and generously a translation of that primary source, which is what Adnan relies on. And then you have the secondary sources, which is the interpretation of those primary sources. Now, I brought you primary sources that were both Jewish and Muslim, from Tapari to Maimonides, from the Cairo Geniza to wandering historians who went through
conclusions.
So,
academic conclusions.
What I gave you was the primary sources, and Adnan ridiculed them. What he's not telling you is every historian has a bias. Every historian has an agenda, usually.
He's right. He's right.
And what Adnan's doing is he's taking that person's interpretation of history and presenting that because it supports his narrative.
Jewish
He's
academics.
also misrepresenting that. So Bernard Lewis, his favourite person to quote, talks extensively about the anti-Semitism that Jews suffered under Islam. Moshe Gill, who is the academic that the academics quote, he is or was the authority on the Jewish condition under Islam, from the Gaonic period, from the very emergence of Islam through to the Ottoman period. He is the authority, the historians quote, and he is explicit in his writing. Which I don't know. I haven't got them to me. I'd have to bring the book. I'll bring that.
Okay, then don't make claims.
Okay, Adnan, you literally just quoted Bernard Lewis.
I quoted people.
No, you just said Bernard Lewis said this to some Israelis in an audience. Like every time you quote, when I look it up, it's a lie. Every time.
Every time.
No, most times.
I
was being hyperbolic. I was being hyperbolic.
Okay.
Most times you bring sources.
One. Wait, no. This is a very serious claim.
Adnan.
Most
Adnan,
times.
I did not interrupt. I did not.
One example.
I did not interrupt you.
You can't lie to people and expect me to not interrupt you. One example where I misrepresented the quotes. One example.
Adnan, I stood patiently.
He said, first he said every time, then he went back on that. He said most time. That was hyperbole, right? Now I'm telling you hyperbole, right? Now most times, all I'm asking for once. One example. Yalla. You can't just run away throwing
what you'll also
throwing
notice here, what you'll notice
beep on the fan.
What you'll notice here,
as they say when it hits the
I
fan.
presented primary sources of Jews who lived under Islam.
One example.
Many.
I need an example.
Adnan.
Wait. I'll take it back. Take it back.
Take what back?
No, you said most times I misrepresent history and quotes.
Okay.
One example. Now we're talking. It's going to be fun now. One example. It's going to go on Twitter. This is going to be fun. Okay, remember he said every time, and then he went back on most times, and now he can't even think of one example.
This is what Adnan said. Adnan claimed on video, and anyone could go back.
So that's one case. So before you presented one case.
Multiple cases from that time.
Okay, so you're going to present all those multiple cases. Yes? Inshallah. Good. Now we're dealing with it. So what did I say?
So Adnan said, we have been honoured by the Ishmaelites, that we worship together the same God in this holy place.
Yes.
Now it doesn't say that anywhere. And the reason why this is...
Wait.
So this is...
Wait.
The Pitron...
No.
Sefer Pitron Torah.
No, Sefer Pitron.
Yeah.
So where is that?
So this is. So you said on camera.
No. Read what I posted.
That's it.
No. Read what I posted, brother. You can't read what you posted. He's reading from what he posted.
It's a screenshot. So
He's reading for what he thinks I said. Read from what I posted. You're gonna have the. This is surgery gone wrong.
This is.
Now we're looking for instruments.
This is the quote that Adnan
You're gonna have the ride of your life.
This is the English quote that Adnan quoted.
Okay, where from?
I don't know where you quoted it.
Oh, good. What you don't? If you don't know where I quoted it from,
I can go back to what you said.
I'm assuming you might have checked it, right?
So we had
I
this
quoted the book title, the page, and the exact quote, screenshot from the page. You're gonna have fun today. You're gonna have fun. He said all the time I misrepresent history. Then when I challenged him, he said
Adnan,
most times.
Adnan, can I respond?
And now he's struggling to find one. Go on.
So I'm going to go through each one of the ones you brought.
Yeah. So let's leave them one by one.
The people in whose hand the temple is today have made it into a choice, excellent and honourable place of worship.
Yes.
They say, let us worship the one God who created heaven and earth, to whom the creatures belong, until the coming of the Messiah, and on that day the true worship will be renewed and will be acceptable before God.
Okay.
Before we get into what it actually says, I'm going to ask you, what language did you quote?
I took this quote from A History of Jerusalem, authored by Karen. Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Authored by Karen Armstrong. Okay. When I quoted this source, because Karen Armstrong is a reputable scholar. She's lecturing around the world. She's a well-recognized scholar, okay, and she is qualified in her field. She actually taught Hebrew at university, as far as I know. I read. Wait. Finish. Let me finish. You asked me a question. She quoted this very quote in her book, A History of Jerusalem. I took it word by word and I pasted it. So now he's claiming that I misrepresented the original. Okay, that's what. So okay.
Can
Can I
make my point?
Going backward.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Good.
Understand the argument. Instead of getting smart, listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
So Adnan was ridiculing me before for using primary sources, and he's fully reliant on secondary sources.
Yes, I am.
And here's
I
the
have to.
problem.
Yeah.
I went, Sefer Petron was one of the hardest books I ever managed to source. It does not exist in English. You can't get it in any Jewish bookshop. You can't get it on Amazon.
Amazing.
You can barely get it anywhere. I managed to
I found it straight away.
No, you didn't.
I found it straight away.
In Hebrew.
Google Sefer Petron. Now, right now, I'm going to show you.
Perfect. This is great.
Wait. This is going to be fun.
This is going to be
This is
amazing.
gonna be.
Because I found it in Hebrew and it doesn't say anything that he says. What you're going to find is an English interpretation.
Whoa.
Let's see. It's amazing.
Sefer Petron Torah. Can you see?
That's a different book.
Wait.
It's a different book. It's a different book. It's a different book.
Is this a different book?
Yeah.
Sefer Petron Torah. This is the book I quoted. Hebrew.
Yes,
in Hebrew.
It's a different book. There's two books with the same name.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the guy we're dealing with. This is what I have to put up with every single week in the park. Okay. He's calling me a clown. He's been calling me a clown. Okay. And I'm telling him where to find his Jewish sources. Right. So it's a simple Google search. Sefer, S-E-F-E-R, Petron, P-I-T-R-O-N, Torah, T-O-R-A-H. Do that, you'll find the Hebrew text. And he said it's the most difficult book to find. I'm not surprised. Most books are very difficult for you to find because you don't want to read them.
This is the best bit. So I'll ask him again. Show me the text inside that book.
So you're wrong.
No, not at all.
So at least have some integrity and say, I apologize for all my blunders. First I accuse him of getting history wrong all the time. So I managed to get my BA and my masters, and I'm doing now further studies. All of these scholars in these universities are marking my essays must be a bunch of fools or must be anti-Zionist for them to even pass my exams.
Show me the text inside that book now.
Wait, I don't.
It's a manuscript.
Are you not listening to me? Are you partially deaf?
Adnan.
Okay.
Again.
I said I quoted. I took this quote from A History of Jerusalem, authored by
Karen Armstrong. Yes,
Karen Armstrong. When did I claim? Wait. When did I claim ever?
So
in my wait.
Are you talking? No, I'm not listening. Because you're not.
Because you're making things up. You're making things up. I never said I read the Hebrew. I never said I read the entire Hebrew text. I claimed that this quote is there. and it is used in this context, the context I used it in, by Karen Armstrong in a book, A History of Jerusalem. Period. You can go back to our first conversation on this point. For some reason, this guy cannot get this into his head for the last 2 years.
Karen Armstrong, I imagine, has never read the quote either. It is
Now he's claiming Karen Armstrong, who taught Hebrew. Actually, I don't know if he taught.
It's incredibly difficult to solve.
I'm gonna read her credentials now. You're gonna have the right of your life.
Karen Armstrong,
wait.
a nun.
I'm gonna read.
She's not Jewish. She's a nun.
Who said she's Jewish? Did I say she's Jewish? What's wrong with you, man? Are you hearing things?
Again.
Is someone whispering to you?
Adnan, why are you so afraid to let me speak?
I'm not.
Then shut up. So the book is incredibly difficult to source. I managed to track down a PDF version of it in Hebrew. I went through it. It says nothing of what he's saying. There's a quote that kind of roughly resembles what he's saying. What it goes on to say is it ridicules Islam. It calls Mohammed a madman. And what Adnan doesn't know is any of this, because if he knew how it insulted Islam, he would never have brought it as a proof.
Most Jewish sources I quoted today, I will help him, are hostile to Islam. Most Jewish sources I quoted today are hostile. So when did I claim this guy? What the problem with him is, he builds a straw man. He builds a straw man, and because he doesn't know what a straw man is, and he attacks it. I never claimed that these Jewish sources are pro-Islamic, and they are praising. What they are saying is their experience with Muslims living in the domain of Islam was positive. They're not saying Islam is true. If they thought Islam was true, why would they be rabbis? Why would they even write in Hebrew, these commentaries? They are not Muslims. They don't believe in Islam. They believe Prophet Muhammad was an imposter. He was not a true prophet. I'm telling you this. Why are you attacking straw man? When did I say when did I say Sefer Petron is a pro-Islamic text? When did I say that?
You were saying that there was literally
in that quote.
What your quote?
In that quote,
again, I'll read what you said.
This guy's a waste of time.
We have been honoured by the Muslims, that we worship together the same God in this holy place. We have been honoured. When you actually read what the book says, it says nothing of the sort. Now, I'm not going to say Karen
okay, I'm going to take you up on that. I'm gonna get someone to read.
Translate the
the actual.
Yes,
wait.
The Hebrew.
Wait. There has to be some kind of a compensation for all the pain I'm going through, because surgeons, when they do surgery, it really drains their brain, because it's been killing my brain for the last 2 hours. Wait. Okay. Wait. Okay. No problem. And you're struggling to show us how.
So
okay,
wait.
I'm gonna get the Hebrew text translated word by word. And if it says what Karen Armstrong claimed it says, then what, Joseph? Some kind of compensation. Do you all agree? Do you all agree? There has to be some kind of price to pay, right? Yeah. What price is it? What are you gonna pay? What are you gonna pay? If the Hebrew text, word by word, says what Karen Armstrong translated. So okay, wait. If a Jewish rabbi confirms, I'm gonna get a Jewish rabbi to read that text, translated word by word
in context.
No.
Otherwise, I can say Islam says strike the neck of the disbelievers.
Wait. What is the context? Read the quote again. What is the context? Can you read the Hebrew? You have the Hebrew there. No, you don't have it. You got it wrong, right? Okay. So have you read the Hebrew of that quote?
Yes.
You have. Do you have it now?
No, I just said I don't have it.
Okay, you don't have it now. Okay. If the Hebrew text says exactly what Karen Armstrong claimed it says, what price are you willing to pay? And put a price on me as well. So what equally has to be fair.
So what I say.
Sorry?
Challenge Arabs should walk away.
No. It's a gift. I'll buy him a gift. I'll buy him a bunch of roses. No problem. Okay. Wait.
I'll be explicit.
No. I'm putting a challenge out there.
I want to be explicit. As I said.
Don't be explicit.
There is a quote that resembles that, but when read in context,
we are dealing with it. We're discussing.
The Sefer Petron is a book that is an anti-Muslim polemic. It is not a book which endorses the praises.
The quote. So if there is a hostile enemy, and this is why this quote is more valuable to us. Now he's confirming it's a hostile source. And even though it's a hostile source, it is saying that these people in whose hand the temple is today, who are they? The Abbasids, the Muslims. In the Sefer Petron is a 9th century source. It's a 9th century Jewish anonymous source written in Palestine. The person is an eyewitness. He or she, is definitely a he, okay, is explaining that in the temple the temple is in the hands of these people today, and they have made it an honorable place of worship. So this is a hostile source which he agrees to and admits is praising the situation in Palestine. So Joseph, have some shame. What kind of human are you, man? Have some shame. Wait. Let me. If that quote says what it says, or what Karen Armstrong claimed it says, what price are you willing to pay? Be brave. Be brave. Zionists are brave, no? Zionists are brave. Yeah.
You speak a lot. So I'll be again very clear for the camera. There is a quote which says something which resembles that, which
now resembles. So he has come from, doesn't say that, to resembles.
Adnan,
okay.
Again.
I just want you to know what is happening here.
Adnan.
It resembles.
Adnan, what I want to be
How?
Adnan, stop talking and let me respond.
Okay.
So the book is an anti-Islamic polemic. He presented it as evidence of the Jews honouring Muslims. What Adnan said in the actual quote of the conversation, and there's nothing that these are.
So first, remember,
2 minutes.
First he claimed that I put Ishmaelites in there. First he claimed.
So this
do you remember?
This is what.
Wait, Joseph,
Adnan,
wait.
stop.
This is
Let me, Adnan,
this is an expose.
Adnan.
This is an expose.
I am going to explicitly say there is nothing that resembles this quote, which is what you said. We have been honoured by the Ishmaelites that we worship together the same God in this holy place. Nowhere in that book.
When did I say that?
On camera. That's literally what I was responding to.
Okay. Now.
Stop,
Okay, let's assume I said. Wait.
Stop. That is what you said. I said I searched for that book. I found that book. There was nothing that resembles that.
Okay. Now, even if I said it on camera, which I doubt, I'll have to go and check. Even if I said it, every single word I said is substantiated by the court. Every single word.
What Karen
Let's break it down. Let's break it down.
What Karen Armstrong says is very different than what Adnan said. Nothing about we have been on.
First, the court didn't
Adnan, stop. The quote
does exist.
The quote he's talking about is talking about the Temple Mount. It's not talking about Jews being honoured by Muslims.
What price are you willing to pay?
So I will pay. Adnan, if it says anything that it says, again, if it says what you said.
You weren't saying that before, were you?
So Adnan,
he was actually disputing the quote. Are you witness? Let's ask the witnesses. Was he disputing the quote? The actual quote when he read it.
So this is
was he disputing the quote?
Adnan, I called you a liar.
Adnan,
I called you a liar.
This guy is a compulsive liar.
I called you a liar because you said this. You claim there is a quote that says we have been honoured by the Ishmaelites that we worship together the same God in this holy place. There is no such quote. That was a lie.
Stop. Good.
Was that a lie?
Good.
Was that a lie?
Good. I said, allegedly.
Was that a lie? Yes or no?
Responding.
It's a yes/no answer.
What's your name? Yes or no? What's your name? Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
What's your name? No. Okay. Exactly. So now let me talk. He claims that I said that Ishmaelites have made this place an honorable place of worship.
No, I didn't. I said we have been honored by the Ishmaelites.
Okay.
We have been honored.
Okay. Now, read the quote.
So this is
first of all, in the 9th century, who is ruling Palestine? Wait. Okay. You said it. Abbasids. Okay. Who are Abbasids? Huh? Who are Abbasids? No. Genealogically, ethnically, who are Abbasids?
Descent from Abbas.
Who is Abbas?
One of the Sahaba.
Abbas is the son of Abdul Muttalib. Abdul Muttalib is the son of Hashim. Hashim is the son of Abdul Manaf. And the list goes back all the way to Ishmael. Are you aware? Okay, so now this guy, wallahi, I'm actually enjoying it. I hope people who are watching are also enjoying this. Yeah? Wait. So Abbasid dynasty was an Ishmaelite dynasty. Yes. Okay, by that virtue, because they were ruling Palestine at the time, the quote states that those in whose hands the temple is today, i.e. the Ishmaelites, they have made it an honorable place of worship. Okay? Is that clear? Right? So now, if you have any shame, if you have any shame, any integrity, which you don't seem to have, but I will give you the benefit of the doubt. Miracles can happen.
Okay.
Apologize to me now. Does he owe me an apology? Does he owe me an apology? Okay. Apologize now.
There's a big crowd
apologize
of Muslims,
now.
so of course they're going to agree with Adnan. But for the camera, for the benefit of my audience, the quote, me and Adnan were talking about how Muslims treated Jews. The quote in the original manuscript talks explicitly about monotheism in the Temple Mount being turned into a place of monotheism. Nothing to do with how the Muslims treat the Jews. So let me, just so everyone's following, we were debating whether Muslims persecuted Jews. Adnan quoted
because of Israel.
Adnan, I didn't interrupt.
You're not going to apologize?
Adnan, let me speak.
What
are you trying to do?
If I was you, I would apologize.
This is a debate tactic.
It's a human,
he's not
it's
allowing the audience to follow the conversation because he's trying to use cheap tactics. So again, we were debating what it was like to live as a Jew under Islam. He brings a quote which he's never read in the original source, because if he did, he knew that the book would talk about the persecution that Jews faced under Islam.
Show us. No. I don't believe you. Show us.
Adnan.
Show us. No, I don't believe anything
That's
he says.
fine. That's fine.
If there's no evidence, this guy has shown to be a liar repeatedly throughout this discussion.
See how
we don't
he's
trust
afraid
anything he
to
says.
let me
Ask me for evidence. When I make a claim, I will present the evidence.
Adnan,
if you cannot
evidence
show that
again,
source, you're going to show me from Sefer Pitron that the author is claiming that the Jews are persecuted. Show us now. No. Sefer Pitron, quote in Hebrew and translate and show us where it says.
Terrified of me speaking.
No,
I'm not. Lay down these challenges.
I'm not.
Don't lie,
Joseph. Don't lie.
Let me speak. So let me finish a sentence then. If you're not afraid for me to speak, let me finish a sentence. So we were debating whether Muslims persecuted Jews. He then said that we have been honoured by the Ishmaelites.
I didn't say that. Don't lie.
I literally read you word
I
for word
quoted Karen Armstrong
you said,
in this regard.
Okay.
You have comprehension problems.
Okay,
you have comprehension
are you
problems.
denying
Your
that you
brain cells are not functioning.
Are you denying that you said
that's
this?
why you're
are
a Zionist.
You denying
that's why you're a Zionist.
We have been honoured by the Ishmaelites. Are you denying that you said this? We have been honoured by the Ishmaelites. Are you denying that?
I have to go and check what I said because I don't trust you. Number one, wait. Okay, I don't trust you. Wait, I'm responding. What? I'm responding.
That is the argument.
I'm responding. Did I qualify my words from the quote? Did I or not? Did I contextualize my even? Let's say even if and you know what? Let's make it easy. Let's make it easy. I own those words, even though I might not have said those words. I own them. I will stand by the term Ishmaelites and honoring the Jewish people. Okay, I will stand by these two because this is what he's debating. The quote says that a Jewish author writing a commentary on the Torah in the 9th century in Jerusalem is writing that those people in whose hand the temple is today in the 9th century, they have made it an honorable place of worship, and we worship one God. Okay, now he says those people in whose hand the temple is today. Who are those people? In the 9th century, who are those people? Abbasids are Ishmaelites. I've already qualified that. This guy, his brain cells are dead today for some reason. It's not registering. The information is not, Microsoft gets viruses, right? So the virus has really corrupted the software. It's not getting through. The Abbasids are Ishmaelites. So I stand by that term. The quote says they made the temple into an honorable place. For who? Who is writing? Who is writing? Who is writing this? A Jewish rabbi, a Jewish scholar. So he's saying here they have made it an honorable place for who? For Muslims? He's writing about himself, right? So this is the quote used in this very context I am using it in by Karen Armstrong in her history of Jerusalem, who's a scholar. For some reason, this guy's brain cells are not registering that information. It's a very, very minor point. We have spent more time than necessary on this point. You know why he's doing this? You know why he's doing this? Because he now knows that he's looking like a fool. He made a claim first that I misrepresent history all the time. Remember? Yes. Then I challenged him on that. He said, no, that was a hyperbole, right? Most times. I said, okay, most times. Show me one. He pulls out this one. And now on this one, he's already struggling. He's trying to find a way out. He's not getting the way out. I even challenged him. I even gave him the benefit of the doubt. Go and find the Hebrew quote. If it doesn't say what Karen Armstrong claimed it says, what price are you going to pay? If it says exactly what she said it says, what price are you paying? He's not responding. Repeatedly, ignoring my plea or my call. And put the same price on me. I'll let him choose. 100,000 pounds. I'll go and sell my clothes and my whatever I possess, you know, whatever little I possess. I'll sell my books, okay, and I'll bring the money. But what you're going to do? Okay. What are you going to do? What are you going to sell?
So what you'll notice there is
the Zionist state of Israel is not going to come to your rescue.
From a string of ad hominems.
Okay, no. Can you answer my question? What are you willing to pay? No. This is not acceptable.
Of ad hominems.
He's wasting our time.
Flung insult after insult at me, and when people fling insults, it's usually because they've lost the debate. So I will repeat for the benefit of the audience. The conversation we were having was about persecution of Jews. Adnan brought an example of a quote that does not exist. He said, we have been honoured by the Ishmaelites. Now there is I'm going to illustrate it for the audience so they understand. Prior to the Islamic conquest of Jerusalem, the Temple Mount had been turned into a garbage heap. It had been violated. Our holiest site had been left in ruins. And Muslims conquered Jerusalem and turned that round and turned it into a place of monotheism. So when the author is talking, he's not talking about the condition of Jews.
Do you believe him? Do you believe him? He doesn't have the Hebrew, he's making the story up.
Because he's not, so even if you read the quote...
So accept my challenge. If you're right, I'm wrong, I'm willing to accept. If you're right, accept my challenge. What price are you willing to put? What price are you willing to put if you are wrong on the quote? What price? Just finish it, man. Finish the whole debate.
It wasn't whether the quote was whether you were right with what
I explained how my words...
You your words.
Okay,
yeah.
No, I did not twist.
Yes,
I did not twist.
Like a snake.
Okay, guys. Those of you who listen to me, using the same quote, a Jewish author writing in the 9th century, saying, Adnan, for the 50th time,
Adnan, you're not going to speak over me. I was speaking. So again, the Jewish author is commenting on the Temple Mount, which had been violated and left, and it was desolate, it was a garbage heap. It had been turned into a beautiful shrine to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It had been turned into a place of
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
It had been turned into a place of worship. And all Jews,
inshallah, he will take shahada,
including myself.
I'm sure he's breaking Jews inside, you know. Inside he's realizing.
All Jews, including myself, recognize that the Muslims turning the Temple Mount into a place to worship the Creator is far, far preferable.
So he's now accepting what I said.
Adnan,
he's now accepting what I said.
Adnan, and now you get a sense of who I'm debating here, by the way. It's not just Adnan. It's a very large crowd. There's no
very brave Zionist. He's being attacked left, right. People are throwing stones on him. Look at him. Let me try to... You know the paint, the picture. Let me turn your camera around. Wait.
Don't touch my camera.
No, why not? I want people to see all these bad people who are trying to attack. You know.
Adnan, you had your turn.
So don't say stupid things like this on camera.
What happens is when you try to refute
his logic,
he plays a clown and tries to distract and prevent me from finishing a point.
Ken, أنت ما دبرت بريت.
So again.
You know Hebrew?
Yeah,
you know. Can you read a quote? Okay. Can you read a quote for us? Okay.
Torah,
I'm gonna find that quote.
Bible.
I'm gonna. Wait.
Okay.
Carry on. I'm listening. It's his talk. He's the one talking.
So, the original author is talking about how something that is holy to the Jewish people, the holiest site in the world, had been turned into a rubbish heap, and then it had been restored to a place of worship, worshipping the Creator. So he said it's been turned into an honourable place of worship. What Adnan said was different. We were debating about how Muslims persecuted Jews, and he was saying, this author said, that we have been honoured
I'm so
by the
happy he
Muslims.
admitted it.
We have been honoured by the Muslims.
I'm done.
And
So obviously, he's not accepting my challenge, which is fine. He just admitted it.
Adnan, okay. The challenge is what you said is not.
The challenge is, if what Karen Armstrong said,
And I literally said,
and you just
the
said
quote
you admitted.
I said from the very beginning, the
Good.
quote resembles
Thank
what
you.
Karen Armstrong
Thank
said.
you.
when it's
So
read out
I
of
was,
context.
in other words, ladies and gentlemen,
You
in
were
other
wrong.
words, I
You
was
were
not
wrong.
misrepresenting
Of course you
history.
were. You said we have been honoured by the Muslims or the Ishmaelites, and it doesn't say anything of the sort.
Who
This is ridiculous.
Who was
Adnan, it
managing the
doesn't say-
temple?
Adnan,
Who was
I
managing
just-
in the 9th
Does
century?
it or not? What he
Wait,
said,
wait,
what he
wait.
said, does
In the
it not?
9th century,
I've
who was
literally-
managing the temple?
The Abbasids. I've literally.
Abbasids.
The Abbasids, who are the same people who
Muslims?
made Jews wear yellow sleeves. Yes, Muslims, they made Jews wear yellow sleeves.
Talk about the quote.
They made them
Talk
ride
about the
on
quote.
donkeys. They wouldn't let them ride on horses. They wouldn't let them rebuild their houses
CNN,
for worship.
Fox News, NBC.
This is the Abbasids.
Okay.
This is the Abbasids.
CNN,
and he
Fox
wants you to
News,
think
NBC.
that a Jew living under the Abbasids
Okay.
was saying that we have been
CNN,
honoured
Fox
by
News,
these
NBC.
people.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
No, wait. Before you ask,
Okay, of
we're
course.
in the middle of a debate. So now it's clear that this gentleman, I will let the audience decide. There are Zionist people watching on this camera,
Debate,
on this channel, and there are Muslims watching. I will let you
not a debate.
use your own sense and decide whether this guy has any credibility left. Okay? I have been using sources upon sources, secondary sources and primary sources.
I've been using primary sources.
I've
You've never read those
So
primary
now,
sources.
how history works. Let me teach you how history works, because
Yeah, you don't read the primary sources. You just read the secondary sources. that
I
are cherry-picked by people with political agendas.
successfully attained a BA in history with honors. Wait. And I'm not boasting. I'm only trying to explain this so that you understand that I am somewhat qualified to speak on history as a student, right? I
you're
have
a terrible
successfully completed
historian
my
because you
masters
laughed
from
at
the
me
University
using-
of London in
you laughed
history,
at me for using
and I'm now
primary
pursuing further studies. This man has not, I don't know whether he has done his bachelor's or even A-levels, I don't know. Okay, so he cannot be talking on history. How history works is scholars,
you talking to-
academics, they study primary sources, then they write secondary works. So they go through primary sources, and then they write their conclusions based upon those primary sources. What I read to you was the primary sources and then the conclusions of secondary sources, recent scholars. Our recent scholars, they have studied a lot of these primary sources. That's why I asked him a very specific question. And those who study history will understand where I'm coming from. I asked him to present one conclusion from a Jewish scholar, let alone Christian. No. He's sticking to.
have it memorized.
You haven't read anything from Moshe Gale, so stop saying Moshe
I
Gale.
literally
You haven't read
quoted Moshe
anything.
Gale.
No, you did not.
I literally quoted Moshe Gale in this conversation.
Page number, book, quote again. I'm going to allow you. Page number, quote, where he said Jews were persecuted by Muslims throughout the history of Islam.
I didn't say that. I said I was quoting.
I've got a question on that topic.
You will come back to you. We'll
When
come
I
back
said
to
the
you.
days of Harun al-Rashid saw the decrees regarding dress code.
No, that's not Moshe Gale.
That is Moshe Gale.
Okay, are these the words of Moshe
Yeah,
Gale?
these are the words
Which
of-
book? What page number?
So I will bring that.
So stuff it. Keep it to yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Wait.
You quote the historian, he runs away.
No. You did not quote a historian. Give me the name of the book.
You couldn't
Give me
even
the
name.
name.
You were calling Sefer Pitron. What was it? Pitros. Pitros something or other. What was it? You called it?
In the first conversation?
Yes.
Absolutely.
No,
I got
it's a
that.
question.
You didn't get the name right.
Just like you're saying Hanafi. Is there anything Hanafi in Islam? No. Hanafi? Okay, so shut up.
Hey,
Okay.
is there anything we both agree on?
No, we
Is there
agree.
anything
We
we both
agree
agree
on.
on?
We agree on the fact that he's a liar and I'm speaking the truth. Okay.
I think that's what
Wait.
That's not unserious.
No.
If you're gonna do a debate in front of
I'm known
people-
for this.
if
I
you're
don't
gonna do a
bite my
debate in
words.
front of people
I don't
and
like
big
to. I don't
audience,
like to be polite when I
be
meet
a
people like
proper
this.
leader, you know what I'm saying? Show people how to lead
No
properly.
problem.
Not
Leaders have to
how
speak straight.
work and communicate together,
Okay,
not just put him down.
brother,
every
don't
single
lecture
step.
me for. Let me finish.
He
this.
read a quote and he read three
You don't.
words.
Did you just come now?
He
We've
read
been
three
debating for
words.
3 hours. You just came now. So
God puts me
stay
at a
out.
perfect time for every
Okay,
single reason.
wait, no.
Everybody that comes into your
Brother,
life
I let you
happens speak for a single
I
reason.
will come to your
So it does
question.
not matter what time I came.
Brother,
it's the
you just
reason that I
came now, we've
And I
been
feel like
debating for
this
3 hours.
is the reason that I came. Why
Okay.
don't you try to talk to each other and work together, see what you agree
We have been
on,
talking for 3
instead
hours.
of every single time you both speak, you either shut him down and not communicate. If you're going to be a leader,
Brother,
you lead people properly and you speak properly and you show them how to
Brother,
work
thank you for the
together.
lecture.
My question
Thank you for the
was,
lecture. We've
do
been
you
speaking for
think
3 hours.
Jewish
Can I finish
minds
my point?
have been fed that story.
I'm
So
gonna
nowadays,
finish my point.
they are
So his
retaliating because
claim,
they have this story.
his claim that I was misrepresenting history falls on his face again.
Bullshit.
He has failed to show us in that quote that I misrepresented it. While I showed you, now it's your decision. You can decide. Second example. Any other example where I misrepresented history? Second example. Yallah. First is out.
So the first
And you decide. You decide. Let people decide. Yes.
He's
yes.
saying that the Jewish
Yeah.
rabbi was saying we have been on a
Yeah, I'm so confident that I said put a price on it. Put a price. You don't put a price on it, no problem.
They're just chatting shit, man.
Yeah.
I agree.
When that shit happened, all they fed to Muslim souls is the algorithm and it's the fucking government. It's not the religion,
So,
it's the
second
algorithm and it's the
example.
government.
This
Jews
is
will
another-
only see Jews killing Jews on their phone at that time, and Muslims will only see Muslims killing
Second
Muslims at that time.
example.
So if they see each other on the street now, who's fed them that information? You know what I'm saying? So they have that automatic presumption. He looks like that, so I'm gonna think he is like that. Who
No.
feeds you that
Only
day in,
fools
day
feel
out
like
on the fucking thing? They got closer and closer. Now they're in our hands.
Brother,
from when
you
we
just
wake up
came now and you
till we
can't
go to sleep.
start lecturing
That's what
us.
I'm saying.
3 hours
This
we've been
is not
debating.
the
You don't know the
battle.
context.
This is not the
You don't know
battle.
what we're
The battle
discussing.
is with the banking family.
Okay, so
And the people
go and
buying all
deliver a
of that
speech
shit,
there.
okay?
People will listen to you. People will listen to you.
Every somebody,
Yeah,
everybody's
go over
silent.
there and do a
You're the
speech.
only one again trying to shut good information down. This is why I say this is not the way to lead.
Second
Like I'm
example.
filling with energy right now. you know what I'm saying?
So they were.
know how to lead,
first,
brother.
first, I was misrepresenting history all the time. That's out. And most times, then I asked him one example. He failed on that. He's now looking for the second example of misrepresentation of history by Adnan Rashid. I'm interested. I would like to know. If I'm misrepresenting history, I'll apologize. I'll say, guys, I'm sorry, man. I really, I've messed up, and I will apologize.
I can't find the original quote.
Okay. So
I'm going to read the actual.
حسب الديانة اليهودية مسموح يتجوز بنت أخوه مع إنه القانون يمنع ذلك. אתה מבין מה שאני מדבר? לפי הדת היהודית מותר לך להתחתן עם אחיינית שלך על אף שהחוק אוסר את זאת. זה כאילו באמת. אתה יודע את זה? כן?
So this is the quote that he. I haven't got the original quote that Adnan said, so I can't respond to that. But what we have this is, if one of our contemporaries, look, and this is Bakhya ibn Khaldun, if one of our contemporaries,
wait. Yeah, no problem. No, you can quote it. What claim are you making here first, so that we are clear? We don't have to go around for another hour. What claim are you making here on this quote? Have I misquoted this quote?
So you would say
yes.
So what you said is that Bakhya ibn Khaldun said that unfortunately I haven't got the original quote. So
I posted this from an original book, translated by a Jewish man from Hebrew into.
I haven't got the original quote of what you said in the debate. It's what I was.
But do you know where I got? Do you know where I got it from?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you bring that out? No. The actual title of the book. Yeah, this one. This one.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay. Now wait. He's about to show us an example of my misrepresentation of history. Okay. And I posted the image of the book.
Adnan, can I speak?
Yeah.
Literally, I was speaking and now you.
Okay. But can you explain the context?
That's why. Yeah.
What happened there? So you challenged me on this. I posted the book, the page number, and the quote.
So
yes.
what Adnan presented was that the rabbi was talking about the condition of Jews under Islam. Now I'm going to read you what the book actually says.
Before Joseph, I want you to read, but before you do the context, very important for the discussion. Joseph came back and he said, this quote does not exist.
No, I didn't.
On Twitter. Go back on Twitter. Read your tweet. He said, this quote does not exist. Adnan Rashid is a liar. This quote does not exist. He challenged me on 2 quotes and I posted both of them. And then he started making excuses. When he saw the quote, instead of admitting, yes, the quote does exist, then he started to play games with the wording. Instead of admitting the quote does exist, this man did say something, but then he started to play games with the wording, which is what he's about to do. And we will see even there, same thing's going to happen. Ishmaelites, remember Ishmaelites? The Abbasids?
Nothing to do with Ishmaelites.
Yeah, I know. It does. Watch.
Okay, what's the word it uses?
You tell me.
Nothing to
Make
do
your
with
claim.
Ishmael.
Make your claim.
Okay.
What did you tweet? You said this quote does not exist. No, you said that. Wait. Okay, I'm gonna read the tweet now.
The tweet's not there. I called it for our debate.
Oh, you deleted it.
Yeah.
You deleted it. So Joseph deleted the tweet.
And I got this sort of idea we were going to debate this.
I should have taken a screenshot. Joseph accused me of lying by claiming there is no such quote. What I did was I took the name of the book, the title page, the picture of the title page, the picture of the page, and that very paragraph. I took the screenshot and I posted. Okay, and this is what it is. Show it to me. This is what I posted.
Okay.
Now, so the quote does exist. You admit now, for the first time on camera, the quote does exist. But it doesn't mean what I said.
No, what if? Okay, Adnan, can you let? I'll read what we said on Twitter, and then people can make their own.
Sorry. Go on.
Please see what this is, Adnan. Please see what Rabbi Bachya ibn Bahuda said about the prosperity of the Jewish people under Islam in the 11th century of Spain. The images show the exact quote and the page from this. Please see page 171 of this particular edition. I hope you will now acknowledge your error. And so what I responded, Adnan. What I responded, and I'll read the quote so there's context.
So what did you respond?
So I'm going to respond.
How did you respond?
I'm going to respond, but I'm going to read the quote first because you posted the
quote.
But
how did you
Adnan, if one of our contemporaries, this is the Jewish rabbi, looks for similar miracles now, let him examine objectively our situation among the Gentiles since the beginning of the diaspora and the way our affairs are managed in spite of the differences between us and them, both secret and open, which are well known to them. So I'm just going to repeat the crucial part of that sentence. If one of our contemporaries looks for similar miracles, let him examine objectively our situation among the nations since the beginning of the diaspora. The condition under the Gentiles since the beginning of the diaspora. I'm just going to go back and then you can do it in the order. So now, what I respond to...
No. Finish the quote. Finish the quote. Don't read half of it.
Okay. Let them see our situation as far as living and subsistence are concerned is the same as theirs, or even better in times of war and civil disturbances. You see how both their leaders and their vulgar peasants toil much more than the middle and lower classes among us, according to our Lord's promise contained in Scripture.
Allahu Akbar.
So now.
No. Did you understand the quote?
So now.
Yeah, what's your claim now?
This is exactly it. Gentiles, so the word isn't actually Gentiles. If you go to the Hebrew, it's ummot. Ummot is plural, nations. So nations since the beginning of the diaspora. So this is what I reply to Adnan. He's talking about our condition amongst the nations since we were exiled. So not in this moment and every moment prior to that, from the beginning when we were first exiled from Jerusalem. So this would have been 1,000 years. Not sure why, this is what I'm saying to Adnan now, not sure why you think he means Muslims, when it's 1,000-year period that predates Islam. And so, you responded, Bachya lived under Arab rule in Islamic Spain. He wrote in Arabic, and the Gentiles he was talking about in the quote were the Arabs. Your reading comprehension is visibly poor. I hope you will now demonstrate some shame and apologize. And so I responded that I haven't got my response, I'm not sure. But basically, I have got my response, I just read it, so let me... So now he's talking about the 1,000 years of exile. He literally says, our position amongst the nations, this is the actual text, our position amongst the nations since the exile began. He doesn't say our position amongst the Ishmaelites, he doesn't say our position amongst the Arabs or amongst the Muslims, he says amongst the nations since the beginning of the exile. So what Adnan was doing, he was saying that this quote, which is talking about the condition of the Jews since we were exiled from Jerusalem, is applicable to Muslims.
Okay.
And I'm saying no, it's applicable to the Jewish condition since the beginning of the exile, including under the Christians who you say persecuted.
Brilliant, amazing, I like that. Okay, so Joseph is claiming that Bahya bin Bakuda is not talking about the Arabs or the Muslims, correct? Correct?
No, I'm saying he's talking about all the nations.
No.
Are you nations since the beginning of the exile?
Okay. In that quote, when he says our living conditions are even better than theirs, when Baya bin Bakuda makes that statement,
he's saying,
is he talking about the diaspora or is he talking about Islamic Spain?
No, he's talking about the diaspora, otherwise he would have said.
Okay. So you're claiming it's not talking about Muslim Spain, Cordoba in particular?
Yes.
You know. Okay, good. I like that. Bravery. Okay. Where is Baya bin Bakuda? Here. Okay. Now I'm going to read this quote, and that's why I asked Joseph that he clearly has comprehension problems. Okay.
Oh, sorry, man.
Baya bin Bakuda.
Message, brother, man. I really know. We just get a message, but this is that cast. Sorry to interrupt, man.
Baya bin Bakuda, a Jewish rabbi, writing in Islamic Spain in the city of Cordoba in 1080. In the year 1080, when Muslims are ruling Cordoba, the Umayyad Caliphate has already collapsed. Cordoba is still under Muslim rule, right? He writes, if one of our contemporaries, are you listening? If one of our contemporaries, who is a contemporary? Today. Yes? Baya is writing in 1080 in Cordoba, in Cordoba, the Muslim capital of Spain. If one of our contemporaries looks for similar miracles now, looks for similar miracles now, today, now. If you want to see a similar miracle today, now, then let him see, let him examine. Are you listening? Yeah? We're going to see now another blunder of mine. Okay? Let him examine objectively our situation among the nations. Okay, or the Gentiles.
I mean, no, it's just the nations. But yeah. Okay. Yeah. Which Gentiles? Where is Baya? Where is he? Let him see now. Let him see us now. Where is he? I just told you. In Cordoba. In Islamic Cordoba. Let him see now our situation among the Gentiles. Who is he talking about? The rulers, the people of Cordoba. Who were they? Muslims, right? Okay, continue. Since the beginning of the diaspora and the way our affairs are managed in spite of the differences between us. So since that time, today, he's talking about today. Okay, now coming to our situation today. Managed in spite of the difference between us and them, both secret and open. So our difference between us and the Arabs are secret and open, both known to them. They know because they're scholarly. They are very educated, right? Which are well known to them. Let him see. Let him who see? Someone. If one of our contemporaries look for similar miracles now. So he's talking to that one who is looking now. Let him see now. That our situation as far as living and subsistence are concerned is the same as theirs or even better. So he's talking about now, not the past. Now, in time of war and civil disturbances, you see how both their leaders, you see. So he's talking to the one who is looking now. I keep saying now. I'm sorry if I sound annoying because this guy, obviously there is a virus there, so I need to really push that hard into his mind so that it gets in there, right? So you see how both their leaders, you see now. Who is you? Now. Okay? Their vulgar and peasants toil, how both their leaders and their vulgar peasants toil much more than the middle and lower classes among us, the Jewish people. Okay? According to our Lord's promise contained in the scriptures. Now, Baya bin Bakuda is clearly categorically saying that our condition with the Muslims, the Arabs of Cordoba, is not even equal to theirs, but even better. It's better than theirs. We live better lives than them. And even though our difference is known to them, they are known to them. They know who Jewish people are. They know our sources. They know our beliefs. Secret and open. Despite all of that,
we have our living condition better than theirs, if not equal, better than theirs. Is this what Bahia is saying? What do you guys understand? Please be fair. Be fair. Don't be biased. Okay? You may like me, you may like Joseph, don't be biased. What do you think Bahia is saying? Is he talking about now or he's talking about the past?
So I'm going to say one thing just before.
Now. Okay, let's take voting. Let's take voting. Did you hear all of that? Just keep
Adnan's going to perform for the camera now.
Are you Muslim?
That, I'll speak to the
Are you Muslim?
So
Okay.
wait.
No, let's take voting. Let's take voting. Okay, you didn't follow. Who followed? Did you follow? Is it now or past? What did you understand? Now? Now? So there is a consensus.
No, very. So it's fine if there's.
By the way, these are all Muslims, so I want to be fair to camera. Okay, but they cannot all possibly be lying.
What I'm going to say, for those that you're fine to believe and agree with that, that's your right to. I'm not going to say. Anyone who's familiar with the way that Jewish rabbis write, Jewish scholars write, when somebody uses a statement that says, among the nations since the beginning of the Galut is the word it uses. Galut means the exile from Jerusalem. So 1,000 years prior to this rabbi writing this, the Jews were exiled from Jerusalem, and since that point until recent history, we didn't have a state and we lived amongst other nations. Why the author chooses that sentence is because he's saying, while we've been exiled and we lived under Christians, we lived under Muslims, we lived under all of these people, as a general rule, our condition has been surprisingly good. Now what Adnan has done in previous debates we've had, he's talked about how Christians persecuted Jews, how pagans persecuted Jews, and what this author is clearly saying is that amongst all the people we have lived, as a general rule there have been times when we've prospered and done well. If anyone wants to see a miracle of the Creator and his connection with the Jewish nation, look at our condition, and you can see that today. In recent history, the Jews were massacred in the Holocaust, yet Jews today, as a rule, are not in the same poverty that they were in the time.
Yeah, stick to Bahia.
And so, what the author is being explicit with is, since the beginning of the exile, which is a 1,000-year period, that Jews have, as a rule, had prosperous times under these different nations. It uses the term Galut and Umot.
Okay, so what do you make of this? If one of our contemporaries looks for similar miracles now,
so,
what is he saying here? He's talking about now, yeah?
Literally what? So again.
So when he says our living conditions, wait. Let him see, the one who is looking for similar miracles now. So how does the quote start? Wait, if one of our is writing in Cordoba, is writing for the Jewish people in Cordoba, if one of our contemporaries looks for similar miracles now.
What am I saying?
Wait. Let him see.
What am I saying? What's my argument?
Your argument is that he's not talking about his conditions in Cordoba among the Muslims. That's what you're arguing.
No.
Yes?
What I'm explicitly stating is he's saying, since the beginning of the exile, if you look at the general standard condition...
Well, what am I saying?
You're saying...
That Bahia is talking about Cordoba, his living conditions among the Muslims are better than Muslims. That's what I'm claiming from this quote.
And so I'm...
And can we find that there in the quote?
I'm saying I can see how you can reach that conclusion, yes. And I'm saying,
okay. Now I'm so glad that you're saying that now. On Twitter, for some reason, that's why you deleted the tweet. So Joseph, today, right now, in front of these cameras, admit that I can see how Adnan can reach that conclusion. I can appreciate that. I can see that reading can also be read. I mean, even though that's the only reading that can be read, but I'm willing to concede some territory to you. But at least have the courtesy, have the courtesy to admit.
I can see how you reach each of your conclusions.
And I'm in my right to read that conclusion into the quote. So I did not misrepresent the quote.
No, you missed the first quote. You definitely misrepresented. That was maybe an accident.
Which first quote? No, first quote is out. This one. First quote is we discussed it for 1 hour. So that's out. This quote. So I did not misrepresent this quote.
I can see how you reached the conclusion that you believe he's talking.
So I did not misrepresent this quote. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I can see how you reached that conclusion. How most Jews would read that. It's not the same way that you read it.
Okay, no problem. But did I misrepresent this quote? Coming back to the main question. Did I misrepresent this historic quote? Did I mispronounce it? Misapplied it? Did I misuse it?
Unfortunately, I can't remember what you said. I'll go back to the original debate and see what you said.
No, in the very beginning of this discussion, you said that Adnan is claiming things that are not there, and he's misusing the quote. And the discussion because the discussion started with your claim that I misrepresent history all the time. Yes? Okay. Then I challenged you and you said, no, that was hyperbole. So you misrepresent history most of the time. I said, okay, no problem, let's talk. So I said to you one example. You pulled out one example, you dealt with it, it's gone. Now this is the second example you pulled as a misrepresentation of history on my part. Now you're saying you can see why I would read that conclusion into it.
I can see why you would read it. Allow me to answer.
So this example is...
Allow me to answer instead of trying to make your point. I can see how you would read that if you actually read the quote as a Jew would read it, it's not saying what you're saying. So I'm trying to be gracious to you and say...
I'm being very gracious, because where I took this quote from, this is a history of Spain written by David Nicol, if I'm not mistaken. It's titled Muslim Spain. I took the quote from that book, and he's using it exactly how I'm using it to argue that the Jews were writing about their good treatment and their good living under Islam and Muslims in Spain. This is how he's using the quote. So I'm being very, very courteous and generous, not using that.
That's one of the difficulties, or the problems with relying on secondary sources, because you don't get the context of the primary source. If you read the primary...
Joseph, I'm a historian. I'm sorry to say that. Whether you like it or not, I'm a qualified historian. Okay, I have qualified. This is what we are discussing that right now. You have failed to show conclusively anywhere where I deliberately misrepresented history. You have failed to show one example. Has he shown any example, brothers and sisters? Oh, let people decide. My Zionist friends out there, did he show any example where I deliberately, clearly, conclusively misrepresented history? Absolutely not.
We have been honoured by the Ishmaelites.
So on that note, I will have to end, because now I will need surgery after this conversation of 3 hours. I'm bruised all over.
I mean, you did most of the talking, mate.
No, we did. We both. It was, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, to end on a positive note, there was no hate intended. There is no bad wishes. I wish him paradise. I wish Allah guides him to Islam and he goes to paradise. I do not wish Jahannam for him. I don't want him to be a Zionist. That's why this conversation took place. Do we want the Zionists to go to hellfire? Absolutely not. We want even Netanyahu and Olmert and the current one, what's his name?
I want the audience.
No. What's the current prime minister? We want him to go to paradise. All the crimes they have committed, repent, ask God for repentance, ask Him for forgiveness. You have a chance. So long as you are alive, you can repent, turn to God, and you may be forgiven by God, despite all the crimes you have committed against the Palestinian people. So we do not wish you hellfire. We do not wish you death. We do not wish you bad. We wish you well. Even though all the crimes you are committing against the Palestinian people and beyond, we wish you well. We wish you the best. We want you to go to paradise. Okay? We don't want you to die and burn in hellfire. We don't. Likewise, Joseph, I have nothing but sympathy. Okay, we have a very proud, a very powerful history. We have a very, very magnificent past. The history of the Muslim civilization. We are proud of it. No one can take this away from us. No one ever can take it. So long as we, the Muslims, are criminals. We are the criminals for not studying our history. If we were studying our history, our condition, our situation wouldn't be the same. If we studied what we achieved in the past and the glorious past we have, the Muslim civilization, the best scholars, the best poets, the best military generals, the best kings in some cases. We are the most magnificent cities in the world. The best institutions for over 1,000 years, the Muslim universities were the best in the world. Okay? We need to talk about that more so that we can wake up to it, right? So we are the criminals for not studying it. So I wish you best. I wish you the best.
My closing thoughts.
Yeah.
What Adnan does, he studies history, but he selectively represents or misrepresents it. The Jewish history under Islam was one of both good and bad. Back-breaking jizya. I provided quotes of Jews who were forced to flee the land because they couldn't pay the jizya, even though they themselves were impoverished. I brought examples of the back-breaking taxes that were put on Jerusalem under the Abbasids. How the community had to, like, literally...
You're repeating arguments. You're repeating arguments.
So were you, Adnan. So were you. And
no,
so,
I finished it. I didn't want to discuss anymore.
See, I didn't interrupt him. He cannot allow me to speak. And this is, thank God, why we have our own country where we can have freedom of speech. And we're not under the boot of the Muslim. And so...
How did you produce all the scholars and poets and intellectuals?
And so,
those who were writing in the Hebrew language and Arabic alphabets.
Are you finished?
If all of them were persecuted.
Are you finished?
No, stop. Joseph,
Are you finished?
You know,
Are you finished?
You're really...
Are you finished?
I'm finished.
A Jew couldn't even build a synagogue. They couldn't even ride a horse. A Jew could not ride a
Jewish
horse.
prime
They had
minister.
to wear distinctive.
A Jewish prime
They had to
minister.
wear distinctive clothing. The ulema constantly.
The physician of the Sultan could not ride a horse.
But consistently attacked the caliphs if they employed Jews. There was a huge.
So he's now contradicting. So the sultans were employing Jews and the scholars were consistently attacking them. So he's now saying that the sultans were actually employing Jews and not giving them horses. Does that make sense?
We don't need it.
Does that make sense? So this guy doesn't even listen to himself. He doesn't listen to what he's saying himself. So the sultans were employing Jews. We're still there.
Come on, man, what 20 ages ago?
We're still there. Joseph is going to kill you today. Joseph, he's really... Okay, so Joseph just now, having said all those things, directly contradicted his own statement. He's now saying sultans were employing the Jewish people and the scholars were attacking the sultan. So now which one is it? Which one is it? Were they employing the Jewish people? And when they were employing them, were they taking away their horses from them and putting yellow badges on them and persecuting them and imposing jizya, crushing jizya on them? Or were these Jewish people given high positions, honor and dignity? So much so that the scholars of Islam were disturbed. They were attacking the sultans for employing the Jewish people. What are you talking about? Are you even making sense? He's gone back to the quotes. Okay, so let him continue. He's gonna do again shotgun tactics. I don't have time. Are you gonna do this thing again? We're gonna go on for another 3 hours.
I need to go to the quotes.
Okay, no problem. We'll stay. So let's finish amicably, on an amicable note.
Are you gonna let me speak?
Yeah, amicably, like a gentleman.
So again,
he's not, huh? No. Okay, sorry. That's his opinion. I didn't say that. He said you're not a gentleman. Continue. I can't change people's minds, can I?
So very simply, Jews faced persecution. Jews were second-class citizens under Islam. Adnan is correct. There were court Jews.
They were what?
Court Jews. They're very well. The court Jews is what there is.
Amnon Cohen wasn't saying that. He was talking about Jewish businessmen flourishing, happy. The Jewish subjects of the Sultan had nothing to mourn.
What's a court Jew?
These are not court Jews.
But what is a court Jew?
A court Jew is an employee of the Sultan.
It's not just an employee of the Sultan, it's anyone who has an official role within.
So that's an employee of the Sultan.
And so
that's a court Jew.
Adnan Rashid ruled that the only position they could hold was a money changer or was a physician.
And with Abdurrahman III in Spain, the only position they could hold was a prime minister. Right? And in Granada, in the 11th century, in 1060s, Samuel Hanagid could only take the prime minister's position. You see what he's doing?
Are we having
you see what he's doing?
Are you going to let me finish one sentence? Are you going to let me finish one sentence in this debate? Seriously?
No, if you're gonna spew this kind of stuff, I'm gonna come back. You're gonna talk about Harun al-Rashid giving the money change. Hey, now he's contradicting himself. So Harun al-Rashid now is giving jobs to the Jewish people. I thought they were persecuted. They were being killed. What the hell are you saying, man? Are you even listening to yourself? First you said sultans were employing them, the scholars were attacking them. That means the sultans were employing them, they were in good positions. Now you're saying Harun al-Rashid was giving them money changes.
What am I saying, Adnan?
You're saying the Jews were persecuted, and then you are giving us evidence to the contrary, that the sultans were employing them. Harun al-Rashid was giving them jobs.
Would you let me speak?
Go on.
So very simply, I'll end with what I started with. The Jewish history under Islam was mixed. The reason
We're getting somewhere. It's now mixed.
Adnan, I thought you were going to let me speak.
From a very bad, evil experience, the Jewish people are suffering. Now we have come to mix. At least there is a mix now. Alhamdulillah.
Are you finished?
Yeah.
Jewish history under Islam.
Inshallah, 2 more times you're going to be a Muslim soon, inshallah. Inshallah, 2 more debates. 2 more, inshallah. 2 more debates, you'll be a Muslim, inshallah. He's making progress. He's getting it.
Jewish history under Islam was mixed. Anyone familiar with Islamic sources knows that there were Jews in positions of authority, and the reason they were in those positions of authority was because they were skilled at that. So when it comes to being a doctor, there were Jews. Jews were some of the best doctors in the medieval period.
Thank you.
In both Christendom and Islam.
Not. Continue. You're making your points, and I won't stop.
Jews and Christians, because of the previous kingdoms, the Christian kingdoms they lived under, were skilled at tax collecting and money, certainly in the Jews' case, money lending, money changing. And so Jews and Christians were given these positions by the caliphs because it was in their interest to use this skilled labour. The people, the Muslims and the ulama, were outraged by this, and so what tended to happen was those Jewish tax collectors, those Jewish doctors would find themselves fired, would find themselves persecuted. And
Example. Where one physician was fired from his position.
Okay, let me find.
Isn't this amazing? Amazing discussion, isn't it? One example of a Jewish physician who was fired from his position because the ulama made noise. Why would ulama remove a useful doctor from his position and let people die? What kind of fatwa is this? Huh? If a Jewish doctor is doing a good job, why would you remove him from his position? It doesn't make sense. So he just made a claim, and I want him to give evidence. That's why.
Okay.
A Jewish doctor removed from his position.
This is from Nisam al-Mulk.
Sorry?
Nisam al-Mulk.
What's that?
It's a Muslim historian.
Huh?
A Muslim historian.
Nizam al-Mulk.
Yeah.
Nizam al-Mulk.
Yeah.
No, he's not a historian.
Okay,
he was a vizier.
Okay, vizier.
He was a vizier in Baghdad in the 10th century.
Umar ibn al-Khattab appointed a Jewish tax collector in Iraq. After Muslims complained, Umar sacked him. Sa'id ibn al-Waqas examined the issue of the Jewish tax collectors and found that only this one knew the work properly. Umar said, act as if the Jew is dead. He then appointed a Muslim who was more successful. Which is an example of what I'm saying.
Nizam al-Mulk?
Yes.
Nizam al-Mulk is not a Muslim historian.
Okay.
And I can tell you this report doesn't exist. You're gonna now have to, just like you've been pestering me on sources, yeah? I now challenge you to bring this report from Umar bin Khattab, where a Jewish man was appointed. Firstly, now, I will do that. You can. But even if this incident is true, it really pulls the rug from your feet. Earlier you were saying Umar had banished all the Jews.
Are you going to let me speak?
He ethnically cleansed the Jews. Wait. Do you remember he said that? Okay, wait. Okay.
To Iraq.
Umar,
he ethnically cleansed them from Hijaz.
So how do you ethnically cleanse someone and then appoint them to a position of tax collector?
Do you know what ethnic means?
What does it mean?
It means remove someone of an ethnicity from a region.
It means killing off.
No, it doesn't. That's genocide.
Okay, go on.
For a historian, you don't know your term.
Yeah, go on. Ethnic cleansing.
Ethnic cleansing. So genocide has a legal definition. Ethnic cleansing doesn't, but in common parlance, it means the removal of a people based on their ethnicity.
Wait.
It comes from the atrocities in Serbia.
Are you going to stand by this?
Yes, ethnic cleansing is the removal of an ethnic group from an area. Is the forced removal of an ethnic, racial or religious group from a given area.
Ethnic cleansing is the systematic forced removal of ethnic, racial and religious groups from a given area with intent of making a region ethnically homogeneous, along with direct removal, extermination, deportation or population transfer. It also includes indirect methods aimed at forced migration by coercing the victim group to flee and preventing its in return, such as murder. Are you listening? No. You read the first sentence and you went hooray, yeah? But let me read.
What's what I said?
Wait. Such as murder.
It's the removal of
Are you listening? Wait.
Such as
murder. Such as murder. what Israel is doing to Palestinians, right? Would you describe it the same way?
Say what he's doing now. He's running away. He knows that.
Okay.
You can see that.
Such as murder, rape, and property destruction.
What's my definition of ethnic cleansing?
Omar was committing murder, rape, and property destruction, and then appointing the same Jews to go and tax collect.
What were the other examples of ethnic cleansing? Was the removal of a people. Omar al-Khattab removed the Jews from the Hijaz to Iraq, which is where we're talking about now. He removed them to Jericho.
This is true.
Israel.
This is true, but it
That's
was
what
not.
ethnic
It was
cleansing
not
means.
ethnic cleansing.
I mean, that
it was
is
not
ethnic cleansing.
It's not.
When you remove an ethnic group from an area, you literally just read the definition.
Okay. So why was he ethnic cleansing? You know what I mean? It's what. Let me explain. What ethnic cleansing? What ethnic cleansing means? Ethnic cleansing means what Israel is doing to Palestinians. This is exactly what it means.
2 million Arabs living in Israel.
Wait. No. Wait. Please, let me finish now.
2 million Jews in Israel. I was speaking at that. 2 million Arabs in Israel. Every single Jew ethnically cleansed from the Hijaz by Umar al-Khattab moved to Israel and Iraq, where we're talking about.
Have you seen what the members of the Knesset, the Arab members of Knesset, what they say about the treatment in Israel? Do you want me to play videos right now? Wait. You just made a claim. You said the Arabs are there.
Are they in Israel? Yes. Have they been ethnically
How do they
cleansed?
feel
No.
about Israel? How do they feel?
How many Jews are there living under the Palestinians? Zero, because they were ethnically cleansed.
Because
how many Jews are living in Saudi Arabia, in the Hijaz? Zero, because they were ethnically cleansed by Umar al-Khattab. He doesn't like the word ethnically cleansed because it has negative.
Because ethnic cleansing constitutes forceful murder, rape, and removal and destruction.
So it simply mean the removal of an ethnic.
So why were the Jews in Palestine for 1,000 years? What were they doing there? If Omar. Wait.
From the Hijaz. Adnan,
Wait.
The Hijaz. Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Umar al-Khattab ethnically cleansed every single Jew from the Hijaz. Yes or no? Yes or no?
No. Let me explain now what he's trying to do. Because he's NBC, Fox News, and CNN, just like the Muslims are terrorists on news channels today, okay? Just like that, Omar was an ethnic cleanser, right? This is in same light, just as Muslims are seen as terrorists, extremists by these Western media outlets, just like that, Omar was an ethnic cleanser. What Omar did, let me explain. There is a difference. You see, wait, let me finish.
After being taxed 50%,
let me finish.
Ethnically cleansed.
Okay, let me finish. Omar, ethnic cleansing. Wait. Ethnic cleansing constitutes specific behavior, right? Which has been defined by scholars. Be quiet.
Which scholars?
Be quiet. Okay. Wait.
That's your answer to ethnic.
It has been defined by scholars that I am right.
You're not letting me speak.
Adnan, which scholars have defined ethnic cleansing? Name one of them.
Okay.
Because there's a legal definition for genocide, but not for ethnic cleansing, and you don't know that.
Okay. Because you're doing it. That's why you know about it. Okay.
Very good.
Yes,
that's why there's zero Jewish Palestinians.
I don't need to know about it because
almost every Arab country, and he has the audacity to say that Jews ethnic cleanse. After Jews have been removed from almost every Muslim country, just like Umar al-Khattab ethnically cleansed the Jews from the Hijaz.
He's not gonna.
Ethnically
You have to
cleansed.
let me speak. You made your point 50 times. You made the same point. Now let me make my point once. Ethnic cleansing constitutes a consistent behavior towards a given community. Yes or no? Yes?
No.
That's
It can
okay.
be
Wait.
many different forms.
Ethnic cleansing.
Cleansing can take
Ethnic
many
cleansing.
forms.
Okay. Now, Omar. What he did?
Removing a group from
Wait.
based on their
Be
ethnicity
quiet.
is ethnic
Did Omar?
cleansing.
Who took Jerusalem from the Byzantines? Who took Jerusalem from the Byzantines? This is going to be the answer to his question. Who took Jerusalem in the year 637 from the Byzantines, from the Romans? Omar. He knows. Omar. Were any Jews allowed in Palestine when the Byzantines were ruling?
In Jerusalem, no.
No. When was the first time the Jewish people were allowed to go back to Palestine?
Not to Palestine, to Jerusalem.
Jerusalem, which is Palestine.
No.
When? When?
So it's Umar. When Umar?
When?
3, 4.
Okay, so Omar is putting the Jewish people where they wanted to be for the last 500 years. Wait. I'm not finished. Be quiet. I'm not finished. The Jewish people were banished on pain of death from the land of Palestine forever. After the revolt of Bar Kokhba in 132 CE, Emperor Hadrian, the Roman emperor, he razed the entire city to the ground. He destroyed the city of Jerusalem completely. It was razed to the ground due to the Jewish revolt in 132. And then no Jewish people were allowed to come back to the city of Jerusalem. After that, Christians come to power in the 4th century. They take the city of Jerusalem after Constantine comes to power. And the Christians were always anti-Semitic. At that time, they blamed the Jewish people for killing Christ. Right? So, the Jewish people were not allowed to come to the land of Palestine. It was when Umar and the Muslims took the land of Palestine, the Jewish people were allowed to come back after almost 400 years of absence. Jews were crying to go back to Palestine and to the city of Jerusalem. They were longing for Jerusalem. Their poetry, their writings, okay, this is where Zionist movement came from. From that longing gone wrong. That longing went wrong. And this is where we got this secular, godless, atheistic movement called Zionism that really, started to do something else, right? But the Jewish people were already there in Jerusalem. So what he's calling ethnic cleansing, if you spoke to the Jewish people at that time, they welcomed it. Why? Because from Arabia, they were expelled. The word is expelling. Umar expelled them, no doubt. This is historically accurate. Umar expelled the Jewish people from the Arabian Peninsula because it was sacred space for the Muslims. Okay? No, not only the Jewish people. Let me finish. No. Don't make it something ethnic. You're a liar. No. You have to let me finish.
Imagine if Israel.
No. Let me talk. Let me finish. Let people understand. I'm not interested in you. I'm interested in people. Let people understand. Ethnic cleansing has to be ethnic. Yes or no? Ethnic cleansing has to be ethnic. No, you're lying.
That's literally ethnic cleansing in Serbia. Serbia, Kosovo, Bosnia. Do you even know your own history?
Okay.
That was based on religion.
Okay.
People with the same
who was expelled from Arabia? Who was?
Jews.
The Jewish people, the Christians, and pagan Arabs, and the very family of the Prophet. Those sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So no disbelievers were allowed in the sacred Muslim space. This is exactly what the law was. The rule was that even the family of the Prophet, the Arabs, were not allowed to exist in the Arabian Peninsula. So on that basis, Umar did not only ask the Jews to leave, it were the Christians of Najran, the Jewish people of Hijaz, and the pagan Arabs of Arabia. All of them were asked to leave. So your spin, your lies will not work. Okay, now, so what happens? So the Jewish people moved to Yemen, they moved to Syria, they moved to Palestine, and they flourished for the next 1,000 years, which is what Joseph, people like him, Zionists like him cannot fathom. On that note, I have to go. Sorry, my salah time. Thank you very much.